Institute. Okay, so we're getting back online. Okay, so primarily that said, and as we go along, I will share more information about myself. And I normally give everybody the opportunity to introduce themselves. However, we do have a very large class. So as we go along, and like I said, the course is discussion based. There is a percentage for participation. Just before I call on you to, speak, you can just introduce yourself and tell us something about you, because of course we want to network and we want to share as much information within this group. Okay, are there any questions? No? Okay, so what I will do is I will move on. Let me see if I'm okay. No, not yet. So if everybody's looking at their instruction sheet, the grading overall passing mark for the class is 70%. And that is split into 3 parts. And so you will have homework, of course, that is worth 20% of your final grade. And it says you may complete all the questions. There are 4 questions listed. Each question is due on the Friday before class and at 11:59. I normally don't accept late submissions, because you can, if you miss the Friday's date, this Friday or next Friday, there are 3 other chances. So just don't do that one anymore. If you find that you're overwhelmed and you can't get to it, and pick another day. What happens a lot of times is persons want to, like I said, as we move on from week to week, you will find that it gets easier. You're able to interpret the information better. You're able to retain it now. You finally understand what Ms. Bullitt talking about. Homework, choice is good, because then you have more understanding. However, what I've seen happen is that everybody picks the last homework, and then they find out, which is the week before the final, and then they find out that, okay, I may have missed something. Okay, so I would recommend that persons pick questions 1 through 3 and not wait till the last question, only unless you fully don't understand and you would have come to Ms. Bullitt and say, Ms. Bullitt, I need extra help, put me in a group. And then I could, understand you're doing question 4. But if for the most part, you're grasping what I'm saying within the book and able to participate in our discussions, I encourage you to do questions 1 through 3. Okay, and it says you may complete all questions. However, only 1 essay should be submitted for a grade. Your essay should be typed in standard essay form, 1,000 to 1,200 words. The normal, this is not English, so a lot of persons come and they say, Ms. Bullitt, I haven't been to school since 1982. I haven't written an essay. I don't really know what to do. So what I've encouraged is that Ms. Dean put that person in English. And sometimes people get offended. And sometimes people just go to English and say that English class really helped. And, you may have not been in a classroom setting for a very long time and you may be rusty. And so I encourage persons to take 119 as a prerequisite to this course, because you have to write a lot of essays. And when you get to ICA, the word count, in order to successfully complete the course, you have to complete an essay that's between 25 and 3,500 words. And so that is the purpose of this homework, to, get you into the practice of writing essays in proper format and ensuring that you hand in proper detail. I attached the ICA handbook, and it's a lengthy handbook. It's about 40-something pages, but I only want you to read. I mean, you can read the entire handbook, but for the purpose of this course, you only need to read pages 17 to 19. And that teaches you how to reference the material that you write about properly. And again, this is a good time to start and know how they expect you to do it, and do it properly and do it their way, because when you get to ICA, you can lose 20 or 30% because you just didn't reference properly. So spend some time, read those 2 pages so you can reference your work properly, and there are different referencing styles. So you need to ensure that you understand their style. Okay, any questions so far? No, y'all got to talk back to Ms. Bullitt, or Ms. Bullitt is full asleep.
No,
Y'all
Ms.
there?
Bullitt.
Okay, y'all got,
ma'am.
okay, y'all got to keep me awake too. Yeah, 3 hours. I want you all to keep me awake. Okay, good. Okay, so avoid copy and paste. I don't need long pieces of the law. Ms. Bullet knows where to find the law. I don't need you to go and find somebody's essay that's similar and copy and paste. I've read thousands of essays, okay? And in the ICA system, when you upload your paper, it tells you 10% of this came from somebody else's paper. 5% came from this site on the internet. 10% came from here. And if you get 50 points, then you don't get your essay is not marked. All shooting or something to that, where the paper is uploaded. So it tells us exactly where you got all this information. So please, no copy and paste. And I have, like I said, I say this at the beginning, and I find that when it comes to marking and the cross marker, I normally let the cross marker mark your essay first, and she sends it right back. Too much copy and paste. Please redo. Okay? So please, you read a piece of body of work and you try to interpret it and put in your own words. If you copy large pieces, you will know and you will not get any points. But I normally send it back to the person and I say, I want to give you a reasonable grade because this does go towards your overall passing mark. So please redo it. Some people have said, no, I don't have time to redo it. And they fail the course. And some people thank me for the, opportunity. So it just depends on how you feel about the whole situation. Okay. Please ignore. I think this was where it said explains 3 statutory requirements. Please just cross out that line and ignore that because that looks like a typo that shouldn't have been in there. The last part of that should say after 2 days, essays will not be accepted, and it should stop there. So it seems as one question was captured when this was updated. So ignore that. So the questions that you select from are questions 1 to 4. The dates when they are due is the Friday before each one. So like I said, if you want to wait, get your feedback. This is very quick, short and sweet. In 4 weeks, 5 weeks, this will be over. So please don't feel like you have a lot of time. This is just an introduction to find out, can I handle the comprehensiveness? Can I listen to Miss Bullet's voice for 3 hours? Can I decide and make decisions based on the information and the research that I have done? So overall passing grade 70%, 20% is the homework. The next set of points is for participation. Again, this is discussion based. You have to read the chapter and you come to class ready to discuss what you would have read. Okay, so as compliance professionals, we read the newspaper every day. Normally, when I get to work in the morning, I go a little bit early. The CEO is normally there waiting on me, and he wants to discuss what is happening in the news. Okay, I work in the offshore world, and so part of my duties is Latin America, Europe, and Asia. So I also have to read those news papers, and he wants to know, did you see what happened in Asia today? And it doesn't look very good. If Ms. Bullet said, no, I don't blame him. Why are you worrying about Asia? But they fall under my portfolio. So I also have to, read those newspapers as well. And a very easy way to do it, because you'll be reading the news all day long, is I'm on Facebook, and I'm sure most of you are on some social media page, and I just put the Asian news. I follow the Asian news, and every now and again something pops up and we are able to discuss, or the highlights of the day, and the European news and the Latin news. So I found that has made it easier for me to stay abreast rather than just say, well, I don't know, and I don't live in Asia, and I don't know what's going on there. Okay, so you read the newspaper every day, and once you read the newspaper at the beginning of class, what I ask is that we discuss what happened. And so my morning class, of course, we talked all morning about the election. Okay, and so it doesn't always have to be the business section. We don't want you to read the comments, right? But the business section, and you come and discuss, and you let us know what's happening in the country or any other country that would be relevant to your position if you work in the offshore world, of course. Okay, and then of course we need to keep abreast of the news and what's happening in the industry. So a way that we do that is We subscribe to the Bahamas Financial Services Board, and they have a newsletter that comes out each month with the various highlights about the financial services sector. Central Bank is one of the regulators, and you will see that Central Bank Guidelines was attached. And Central Bank has been around, it's like one of the oldest regulators. We currently have, I think, about 5 or 6. We have the Central Bank that the banks report into. We have the Securities Commission that the securities and broker-dealers report into. We have the Insurance Commission that the insurance companies report into. We have the Compliance Commission that just became a regulator about 2 years ago, which the real estate law firms and accountants report into. And these are the ones that have like a financial services, like the Higgs and Johnson or the Mario Carey real estate. They are the large ones. We're not talking about the law firms that deal with criminal law, but with corporate law. Okay, so that's a compliance commission. Of course, then we have the gaming board that all of the number houses and the casinos from Atlantis and Bahama reports into. Okay, so whichever financial services or whichever part of the financial service, the sector you are in, you want to subscribe to the regulator. You should always know what the regulator is saying or the industry updates, their briefings. You should follow them, okay, on social media and subscribe to, you know, their websites, because they have loads of good information that will assist you in making your daily decisions. Okay, and then we have the Financial Action Task Force, which is the FIU, which is the police for the financial services sector. And there are other applicable, you know, there's the FATF, the Financial Action Task Force. There are many international bodies that you can follow that give you relevant information that will help you make your daily decisions and help you to stay abreast. Okay, so when you come to class and you say, Ms. Bullitt, I read the newspaper today and here's what happened, and you share that to get your 5%. Then when we read out of the book or you participate in the discussion, the next 5% is from networking. And I do this in all my classes. I ask that you attend Toastmasters, Rotary, or Kiwanis, whichever one, you know, whether via Zoom or in person when they start in person, and you get an additional 5% because we will learn when we get to talk about terrorist financing, the importance of networking and how it helps you, you know, grow in your professional career. Okay, so that's how you get 10%. Yes.
Question, Kendrick. If I go to one Toastmasters meeting, does that count for both classes?
No, it doesn't. So I'd like you to go to one Toastmasters and one Rotary or Kiwanis or what have you.
So that wouldn't be able.
I don't want to have the same. I don't want to have the same story twice. No. I want you to meet some new people.
Oh,
and I have the last one that you went through too, documented. You are networking. The purpose is the network. Okay.
But I mean, let's negotiate this, Bullitt. Let's negotiate. We're saying one class. I get, but I'm bringing distinction to both classes because I don't think anybody else is in customer service marketing. So I'm bringing something new and fresh to my colleagues when I join the class on Tuesday.
I don't want to have the same story twice, but anyway, then make sure you introduce yourself. Make sure you come with the word for the day, and make sure you know who the speakers are, and you give us good information on it, and then I'll consider it.
Bullitt.
Yes.
Probably. I'm just asking. Probably in a separate, I guess, session or something, or a separate area. You have any suggestion of any clubs or specific clubs that are actually active right now that we could join or we could go to?
Okay. If you go on Facebook, you will find all that information right there. Kendrick, I normally ask persons to start a WhatsApp group and just share information as they come across my WhatsApp, and I'll share it with the group. But Kendrick has been in a few of my classes, so he is so good at this right now. He can share some information with you, Kendrick. So thank you he's my go-to person Thank you, Ms. Kendrick,
Ms.
for
Bullitt,
sharing.
just for the record, right? I did see the information sent by email, and I concur with my colleagues. This is a lot of information.
It is. I'm not going to try and downplay it. I'm not going to. It's not for everybody. It's very comprehensive. It requires a lot of work, but it is achievable. Compliance is a specialized area of the bank. Okay? It's a regulated function which means the regulator has to approve it. So an institution can place an ad in the papers and say, you know, Ms. Bullard, we choose you for an interview. We want to interview you. They can hire that person and bring them on staff. However, there's a very stringent process. There's a fit and proper law and guideline that they have to satisfy in order to be approved. So they want minimum years, 5 years, financial services in the financial services sector. They want you, of course, to have the ICA qualification. They come and speak to your neighbors. If you're applying for a gaming board license, they take your fingerprints. And even if you're divorced, they want a copy of your divorce and all your children's birth certificates. Okay, it's a very stringent process. Then they want a personal telephone number outside of the organization. They want directions to your house and a personal email that they can email you in the event there is an issue. What else? You need financial history statements and character references along with your CV to be approved for this regulated function. Okay, so there are 3 regulated functions. There's normally Senior Official 1, Senior Official 2, and the MLRO. The MLRO is a completely independent function. It should be independent of the business. The MLRO should not be operational, and the MLRO reports directly to the board. So there's no influence when it's bonus time. And if you don't approve these accounts, you don't get no bonus. So there's no intimidation. Okay, so this is a very heavy class, but it is achievable. So I won't downplay it.
You scaring me.
No, I tell you the truth. I don't want you to be afraid.
You're scaring me now.
No, let me just let you know we're already here, and I'd like all of us to commit that we'll at least go through this 5 weeks and then determine if compliance is actually for us. Even if you don't want to stay in the compliance department, this is very beneficial because training is required by each staff member annually. And if the organization does not administer training to every staff member, including the board, the organization is fined $10,000 per person that's not trained. Okay, and so this position requires the MLRO and the compliance officer to ensure that the organization as a whole remains compliant. So that means HR is compliant and following the laws and the policies and procedures.
Oh, no, Shannon. Sorry.
Finance department is compliant. Credit is compliant. Operation is compliant. So you have to have a little bit of background and knowledge in order to ensure that all these departments and the organization as a whole remains compliant. Okay, so we are here. Like I said, it's a lot of work, but it's achievable. And this is what's required by each institution. Like for compliance with training, I go out to institutions and I normally administer intro to their staff for their annual training. Now, a lot of institutions out there in person, MLRO who train, and so they do a scaled down version of this. But once you work in the financial services sector, this is the minimum requirement. So it's good that you're here. You're going to get a certificate and you can move on to the next level. So this is the minimum standard that everybody in a financial institution should have. Okay, so please just give it an opportunity. Don't be overwhelmed. We signed up for this for a reason, right? And so let me just finish this, and we're going to talk to some of the people because we want to get rid of all the nerves. Okay, So again, the next 5% is for networking. And like I said, overall, the passing grade is 70%. If you do your homework, if you participate in class, you talk back to Miss Bullard, you take one evening and you go and network, you can go into the exam comfortably with 30%. Okay? The final exam itself is worth 70%. So if you're sitting there comfortably with 30%, you only need another 40% to pass. That's why I'm telling you it's so achievable. Okay, and I'm not certain if this is the date. This is the date that is listed on the front of your book as your final exam date, October 23rd.
Okay.
It is.
It is, okay, because sometimes Ms. Dean switches the date. Okay.
Everybody got a report to the office for the day.
Excuse me, can you mute your mic for me, please, so we don't get the background?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my God.
No problem, no problem. Okay, so it's 15 multiple choice questions and 7 essays. So there are 8 chapters in the book. So of course there'll be 1 question from each chapter, and then some chapters may have 2 questions. Okay, these questions that you're getting from homework, they are from past papers. Okay, and each question, each essay is worth 10 points. Okay, so with your 7 essays, the key to passing this is organization. Right? No, I'm definitely going to answer the question, what I did for homework. So it's whether I chose the FATF or enhanced due diligence or a money laundering case or the rules. So that's your first essay that you would take into it's not open book, by the way, but I mean, you would have already done the research and you would already know that I'm answering this question. Okay, and then you choose 6 others. So I promise you, you're going to get sufficient information to be successful. If you dedicate your time and you organize yourself, it becomes very easy. But if you don't have any time to dedicate, I mean, to any class, it is a little bit difficult because there is a lot of information. Okay, so give me some feedback because let's get rid of some of these fails. Let me see. Let me see who I'm talking to today. Who wants to speak up right away and get their 5% right away? Who wants to speak up? Nobody?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so you want me to introduce myself?
Yes, please go ahead.
My name is Devonna Ramsey. I am 26 years old. I work to a law firm, a business consultancy firm, and I'm taking the course to further my education and also receive a better promotion within my job.
Okay, so Devon, excellent. You're definitely in the right place, and we're here to support you 100%. And so you just let me know whatever it is you need, and we'll help each other get through this. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
That's the importance of networking.
Me next.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Quinette Palmer. I am a night deposit operator at Royal Bank of Canada Limited. I'm also a junior at University of the Bahamas. My area of study is economics and finance. And I came into this course because ultimately I want to be a senior compliance officer. And
Okay,
also,
so well, go ahead.
hello. And also, I'm going to further my education in public administration as well.
Okay, so excellent, Gwinnett. Welcome. You're definitely in the right place and you're on the right path to becoming the senior compliance officer. You just have to go all the way through. Okay, so welcome and very good. I don't have a name, but you texted and you said 43532. You said I can't hear you at all. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Please introduce yourself.
I'm Intira Ferguson. The reason why I chose this class is because you just won't be in, you could work anywhere. Compliance is everywhere. So you don't have to be physically in a bank. You could work to a hotel or you could work anywhere else. So it's a for the diversity, I chose this class.
Okay, excellent,
And
Indira.
of course, the money comes with where. I ain't throwing
Yeah.
nothing if I ain't paid to do it.
Right, excellent. And so, like I said,
Excellent thing is always jobs always becoming available in compliance. I noticed that trend. So I was like, okay, so you might as well get this under your belt, and this would alleviate some stress.
okay, and you're very right. And like I said, compliance is a specialized area of the bank, and so you get that specialized pay, and so it requires specialized work. Okay, so you don't get that big pay if you don't put in the work.
If
Okay,
you don't do
so
no work.
yeah, so it's definitely on the right track, and so
Yes,
persons
that's
are motivated by different things. I was not that I fell in love with compliance. I was motivated by the pay, and so hence this is very much. You know what I mean? So it just really depends on. I'm not doing this because I love compliance. I'm doing this because it's beneficial, you know, to the lifestyle that I want to live. So you just determine if you could tie yourself down and do it for what motivates you. Okay? Okay, so very good, Indira. So all those fares are gone.
I don't
All
have
those
any
fares are gone. No fare. You know why you're here.
devil. Fares of the devil.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Who else spoke about this being too heavy and them not knowing?
I did.
I have a question.
Hi, good day,
Okay,
everyone.
go ahead, Miss Nordich, and then we'll go to Makira. Go ahead, Miss Nordich.
My first question is, how long is the exam? Like, what's the time period?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 3 hours, and so we normally say schedule 20 minutes for the multiple choice, and then 20 minutes for each essay question that you write.
Okay, so it's, I guess, whatever time we decide to start, or is there a set time for it?
No, it's a set time. So it'll be at 12:30 to 3:30 on the Saturday, October 23rd.
My question comes because the day before is my birthday and I'm planning a party on
Girl, listen to me, Miss Nordich.
So
Listen to me. Birthdays are very, very important to me. Very important to me. And we don't want you to be bogged down with no test on your birthday. So please speak to Miss Dean. If, like I said, if you're going to be traveling or you have other plans or what have you, speak to Miss Dean. And thank you for letting me know up front, because we have 4 or 5 versions of the exam. So if you need an extension or you want to take it ahead of time, just speak to the office and the office will organize that for you. But please don't let this interrupt your birthday. Please celebrate. Please. Please.
First birthday in 2 years. So
okay, yes, you definitely can't miss this one. No. And so what I encourage persons to do is, your institution normally gives you a study leave. So you know, this is just 5 weeks away. So if your institution is going to give you a study leave, please sign up now, so before the days, you know, are taken away and they say, but you can't have study leave right before the exam. If they don't give you a study leave, some institutions give a family responsibility leave. Or if you come in there too and you feel that, oh, Miss Bullitt, I'm a bit behind, I'm overwhelmed, it's worth at least 1 vacation day. Because like I said, the key to this is organization. A lot of persons, and women in particularly, they're not successful because their families are not in support. Husbands still expect you to come home and cook, pick up the children from school, do all these things, clean the house, and pay attention at the same time. I've had women with babies on their laps, and the baby participating more, you know. So I always say, please talk to your family and let them know that you've made an investment that will pay off in the future. And so, ladies, we could have bought a Gucci bag, Kendrick. You could have had some Gucci shoes. We could have gone to Miami with this money. What did we do? We took it to the institute. We made an investment. Anybody here for free? No, right? Nobody here for free. So I want you to get 100% return. If you could get 200 return, get 200%. Okay? I want you to get value for the sacrifice and not buying yourself a birthday present with knowledge. Okay? So you make sure you get your money's worth, because this could have gone for more drinks, right? Okay. Yep. But you made this investment, so get 100%. Okay?
Ms. Clark.
Very good, Shanique. Shanique is saying opportunity cost.
Yes,
Very
yes,
good.
we see that.
Yes, yes. So please make sure you get your money's worth. So speak to your families and let them know. Support me now and I support you later. Pick up the kids, cook, let me relax, because the key to Miss Bullet is going to talk for 3 hours. I can talk your socks off, but will you retain it? Will you go into your institutions and apply it? Will it make sense? Will you comprehend? You see what I mean? And so in order for you to comprehend, you need to be relaxed, you need to unwind, you need to feel good, and then it will flow. But if you don't have in your head, I can talk and you're gonna remember nothing nice. Okay? And you definitely won't be able to apply. So please, like, organize yourself at home and try to get some support. And all of this helps you to be successful. Okay? Makira, go ahead.
Hi, once again. My name is Mariko.
Y'all excuse me, but I can call y'all all kind of names. Y'all excuse the old people, please. You know the old people is call you 10 versions, except the right thing. So y'all just excuse me and y'all don't get upset. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, good.
I work at Cash and Go. I'm also obtaining my degree in business and finance. And so, like the lady with the 403 number said, it is compliance would be like another course under my belt, and it does pay well. So that is one of the reasons why I decided to take the course. Now you started to scare me when you was with all the information that you said we would have had to bring, have the routine and know within such a short period of time, but I'm willing to give it my best. And I'm also willing to, well, I'm going to pass the class. Let me put it that way.
Excellent, excellent.
Also a question I had, you said we have 7 essays to write. Each essay is 20 minutes.
No, I said if you want to organize yourself, you will dedicate 20 minutes to each essay so that you don't lose time, because a lot of times it's not that people don't have the information, it's that they run out of time. So
right.
you need to time yourself to say, I'm on question, and you can answer the questions in any order. So if question 7 is, you know, that you have that down pack and that's what you did for homework, you start with question 7. You need to watch the clock and say, hey, I won't have sufficient time if I don't stop, cut this off, put the meat in this question and leave and go on to the next question. So that's why I'm saying.
Another question I had. The essays that we have to write, are they in what, 5 paragraph essays, 3 paragraph essays for each one, or is it, how is it?
Yeah,
so going to be formatted?
Yeah, so you get to the point of you need 10 points. And so you want to ensure you're writing this now. People just come the next day in the class and say they're hard, both for writing all these essays, but it's no more than a page and a half. So whereas for the homework, you're doing that at home, the expectation of the word count is 1,000, 1,200 words. Because you're handwriting this, no more than a page, but make sure that page or that page and a half has 10 points, you know, so you could successfully pass the class.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, good. Any more questions? Anybody else who is overwhelmed and hope this is the last day they see Ms. Bullet, or we can stick this out?
We can stick this out.
We can stick this out. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, right. Y'all unpaid, you know, refund. Y'all unpaid, you know, refund, so y'all have to pass. Okay, good.
Hi, good afternoon. A question.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, for clarity. The final exam you said is October the 23rd.
Yes.
And that is handwritten and it's a timed exam.
Yes.
What's the time frame? Sorry, I missed that.
It's 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yes.
Okay, and just to introduce myself, my name is Crystal. I have over 15 years experience in banking. And I took the course because I'm interested in compliance. I'm an analytical person. I was always one to be interested in anti-money laundering and compliance. So this is just something that I wanted to do, and it's a step towards a goal for me.
Okay, so excellent, Crystal. You're in the right place. And I do hope to see you all the way to ICA. So welcome. And this is a new relationship. And I promise you, I'll be there the entire way through. And like I said, this is once you don't give up and you can do this. This is achievable. It is a lot, but it's achievable.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so no fears. No fears.
No.
Okay,
Hi,
very good.
Indira.
Sorry.
Hi, Indira.
Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Okay, good. So we have friends already, and like I said, if you already know that you are here to go all the way through, I encourage that you start a WhatsApp group. It's 22 persons. That's a lot of support. Organize study groups. Attend. Like I said, it's intimidating to go to these meetings and introduce yourself. So go with a friend. I had 5 persons out of my other class. They went together and they took a picture and they sent it to me. They say, "Miss Paula, this is 5%." And listen, that 5% matters. It's the difference between a 65 and a 70. And for the scholars, is a difference between 85 and 90. So for those people who has beat Miss Bullet down for this 8, please go into this exam with 30%. Okay? If you know you need that 8, don't call Miss Bullet afterwards. Don't call me complaining and saying, "Miss Bullet, this, I need this." Nothing after. You have 5 weeks to do this, okay? And no more. So take advantage of it. Then we have persons where they didn't get their 10% at all. I've been calling them, Makira, what do you think about this? Sharika, what do you think about that? No response. Then they go and report Miss Bullet to the office and say, "Miss Bullet didn't give me my 10% and I failed." I said, "What civic organization did you attend?" None. Listen to the recordings. And so if you miss something, or if you have to leave halfway through, please contact Miguel. Miguel will tell you how to get the recordings, okay? And they will be important when it comes to review. So always try and seek out the recording if you missed anything, okay? But please don't go report Miss Bullet and say Miss Bullet didn't give you the 10% and you failed. I have evidence, okay? I have evidence. And then persons feel like I didn't have time in the 5 weeks to do my homework, but I failed. Can I do my homework now? No, you have 5 weeks to do your homework, okay? So if you're unsuccessful, it's $150 to retake the course. Sorry, not the course, just the exam. Yeah, so normally you have 2 attempts at retaking the exam, and then you have to retake the entire course. Now that percentage is, we have less than 10% that retake the exam, and we have less than 5% that retake the entire course. So it's a 90% passing rate. Okay, so I tell you, this becomes clear as much. As we go on, you will understand and you will retain it. And especially if you work in the financial services sector, you will go and inquire as you go to work and be able to apply what you would have learned in class, hopefully.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so great. Very good. Any other questions? So we understand what our responsibility is. We understand the handouts. I'm just gonna try, I'm having a problem sharing the screen again. But the next attachment is the central bank guidelines. And I just have that there because, like I said, central bank is the oldest regulator. And this is how law is established. We have the international regulators like the FATF, the Financial Action Task Force, the Basel Committee, the IMF. You would have heard these names, right? And so they are the international regulators. They put out recommendations, and so they would have put out 40 recommendations back in 2000. And so they call them recommendations. However, if countries do not implement them in law, what happens to those countries? Does anybody know?
Blacklisted.
We get blacklisted. Yeah, right. So these are recommendations. However, if we don't put them in law, we get blacklisted, right? And so it's international standard. Then the country, the Bahamas, puts laws in place. And so we'll see when we get to Chapter 3, there are about 7 or 8 anti-money laundering laws. The Anti-Terrorism Act, the FTRA, POCA, the Proceeds of Crime Act, and various others that the Bahamas had to implement. And so after they would have, I don't know if any of you are lawyers or you ever read the law, but the law is not in layman's terms, right? They talk about instrumentalities and inter alia and all these funny Latin words that we don't know. And they make it very complicated. And so that's why lawyers stay in business and they are very rich, because you simply do not even understand what these laws say. So international standard, Bahamian law, and then our regulators come along and say, my God, there's no way these people could understand this. Let's put some guidelines in place. Let's discuss with them best practice, okay? And from those guidelines and those best practices, and this is what it is now, the central bank guideline that I attach, you even see the laws are normally 130, 140 pages. Central bank guidelines is 91 pages. Like, who could really read that, right? And so international law, Bahamian law, or international standards, Bahamian law, your regulators' guidelines. The regulators are the central bank, the insurance committee, insurance commission, the gaming board, etc. Then you have the internal policy of your company. And so that internal policy is a mimic or a copy then of your regulators' guidelines, because each organization has different policies and procedures. And so the central bank guidelines are 91 pages. You may not necessarily need 91 pages because you don't offer all the products and services. Let's say you don't offer credit cards, so you don't need a guideline on the credit card section, or you don't accept PEPs, or you don't accept bearer shares. So you can miss all of that from your guideline, okay? So the internal policy of your company is what really matters in the end, okay? And so I've attached central bank guideline, just so we will get used to looking at the law, seeing what the regulators say, and how it works, okay? So I'm still trying to share the screen, but we do see the central bank guideline attached. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And so that's the purpose. So we will refer to that, you know, because they are the oldest regulator, and they have, when you look at the Securities Commission, you will see that the Securities Commission and the Compliance Commission just like scale down with the central bank guidelines, say, because the central bank guideline is like 91 pages. The Securities Commission one is 14, but then they have other policies to go along with that AML guideline. Okay, so that's how it works. So that's why I attached it. And the next attachment is, of course, the ICA handbook, which you can just peruse, but pay attention to those 2 pages on how to reference your work properly. Okay, is that clear as much so far?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, good, good.
Yeah.
So let me just tell you before we go into chapters 1 and 2, how compliance started. So back in 2000, you know, operations has been around, you know, let me start. Royal Bank has been around for 108 years plus. Scotia Bank has been around for 70 years plus, right? And so, of course, they always had HR. They always had finance. They always had credit, right? But we didn't always have compliance, okay? So compliance is just 21 years old, right? Because back in 2000, the Financial Action Task Force came out with the 40 recommendations, and they wanted countries to implement these recommendations into law to ensure that everybody helps with the fight against anti-money laundering and terrorist financing. So around the world, countries implemented some law, some of the 40 recommendations, right? And so when the FATF came in and checked these countries, they realized that, hey, you're only put in the shell so we could not blacklist you. If you all don't update these laws and help us in this fight with drug trafficking and extortion and tax evasion, then we are going to blacklist you from the world and perhaps give your country a high risk rating and nobody's going to do business with you. Okay, so back in 2000, of course, we were blacklisted. And so we have to understand back then, the Bahamas was a tax haven, and we had a lot of offshore banking centers. And basically, that's how we made our money. Banking used to be, or the financial services sector used to be 20% of GDP. It's now 3%. Okay, so that should just tell you how we've lost 17% over the last 21 years. And it's primarily because regulation is expensive. I just read an article that said the IRS spent $18 million to implement FACA, which is their tax regime system. So if they spent $18 million to implement the system, that means they must have made $100 million from that system, right? So America is the largest, the most powerful country in the world. They can afford that. Can we afford that?
No.
Okay. Did anybody give us money to implement when we changed this law to implement these policies and procedures? Okay. Were we not a tax haven? This is where the majority of our revenue was coming in from. And they are telling us, you all can't be a tax haven no more. Because when we implemented FACA, our country made billions of dollars. So we have to push this law into your country so our country could survive. This is going to wipe out your sector, but this is going to make us rich. Okay? And that's essentially what is happening with all this policy and procedure and this regulation. It's just very expensive. Compliance makes no money for the business. Okay? All sales and, the sales team and the CEO, and that's who makes the money. They open up accounts, and these people bring millions of dollars. And as far as people are concerned, compliance have so much regulation, so much red tape in place that y'all cause us to lose business, right? So the only way compliance makes money for the business is by preventing the business from getting fines, because they ensure that the business remains compliant. And let me just give you an example how that is not very effective. The cruise ships got a quote on how much it costs for somebody to come and deal with their waste. Their waste, let's say, came to $10 million if somebody was coming out to the cruise ship to get their waste. The fine for dumping it in the ocean was $1 million. Would you tell me what the cruise ship do? It was cheaper to dump it and pay the fine rather than right. Yeah. So that's exactly where we are with this regulation. It's sometimes cheaper to pay the fine than to put the system in place that's needed. So this policy and procedure came in place, or these laws came in place. Nobody gave these organizations money. And even right down to the central bank, it couldn't simply afford it. Okay? In order for us to even, these laws came out in 2000 now. So the Bahamas used the staggered approach so it didn't wipe out the complete financial services sector. However, the more we put in place, the more the international regulators came down on us, the more threats we got, the more they were on our back saying, like, if you don't put these laws in place, you're going to suffer reputational damage. Nobody's going to be this business with you. We're going to mark you as high risk, a lot of threats. So essentially, after they put the laws in place, then who was to enforce them and carry them out? The central bank had to hire an entire analytics department. The Securities Commission had to hire an entire analytics department. I talk about 20 persons just to enforce these laws, just to ensure that financial institutions following the laws and doing what they were supposed to do, and not having the attitude to say, hey, we can put in the shell, but it's easier to pay this fine than to carry out this regulation and to train our staff every year and to ensure that we are compliant. Okay? So like I said, we are very young, just 21 years old. So you know how 21-year-olds act, right? So we just going on to maturity. And so back in 2017, they came down on us very hard around the world. They did mutual evaluations on each country. And so the 2017 mutual evaluation proves that out of the 40 recommendations, we were deficient in 22. Okay, and so the government, of course, we got the threats. You're going to be blacklisted. We were blacklisted. We met some of the deadlines. but they were on our backs. Again, we tried the staggered approach, so it didn't wipe out our system. But in 2018, we updated all our law, and presently we are 30 out of the 22 deficient. We are partially compliant in 10. So we only have 10 outstanding that still have to be fixed by the government before we are fully compliant. Go ahead, Mariko.
So we were blacklisted about twice?
3 times, I think, yeah.
Three?
From 2018. From 2021, it was more than a lot of times. From 2000, a lot of times. But since 2018, when the new laws came out, we were blacklisted 3 times. And what has happened with this blacklisting, you have to pay attention to it because it's sometimes confusing. Our Peter Turnquest lashed out at them because the last time they blacklisted us, we had in fact met the deadline and did what we were supposed to do, and they made a mistake and blacklisted us. And so we suffered reputational risk as a country, and some people closed out accounts with us, and it was an error on their part. They promised, but before they blacklisted us again, they would let us know. So Peter Turnquest has lashed out at them. Ryan Pinder has lashed out at them. So Ryan Pinder represented the PLP. Peter Turnquest represented the F&M. And because of that lashing out and saying y'all made a mistake and our country suffered reputational risk, they then said, we will no longer blacklist you. Individual countries will blacklist you, or individual unions will blacklist you. And so, and we will learn when we get to chapter 4 that they are housed in Paris, they are part of the European Union and what have you. So who sits on this board? The presidents and the prime ministers and the permanent secretaries of those countries, right? Who are gonna make decisions that are in best interest for their country, right? And so from the chain of events, it was determined that if we don't have a seat at the table, we will continuously be out of competition against Switzerland and other offshore jurisdictions. So of course, they're gonna make rules that are convenient or in best interest of their country. And so just after they had blacklisted us in error, they promised us that they would give us advance notice for us to respond. Then they said individual countries could blacklist us. And so after they announced that they won't blacklist us, individual countries will blacklist us. The president of France blacklisted us, Netherlands blacklisted us, Germany blacklisted us. So, but you have to understand that these are the same players that sit on the same board, right? And so therefore, we realized that we needed a seat at the table. And so I think it was in May of last year, they were supposed to come in and see where we were at with our updating of the recommendations. They weren't able to come in because of the pandemic, and then the European Union blacklisted us. Was that a reason to blacklist us because the pandemic happened and you couldn't come in and do your work?
No.
Okay, but again, the Bahamas suffered reputational risk. And so what happened, like I said, we realized if we don't have a seat at the table to make these decisions, it's out of our realm, it's out of our control, and we just keep suffering. So I'm happy to say now that our very own past Attorney General, Carl Bethel, is now the head of the CFATF, which is the Caribbean region of the FATF, that he will ensure that the Bahamas is not blacklisted for a mistake or because somebody mad or what have you. And so I always tell persons in this class, your country needs you. I hope this is just the first step in, upgrading your education and networking and getting to know the right people. But my purpose is to develop future leaders. And I do hope that some of you venture out. And I've been saying this for the past 6 years, and I'm happy to say in this past election, I saw a face from the class that ran in this election. She was not successful, but her name is plastered all over, and she put herself out there, and she is advocating to make some changes in this Bahamas. We will be properly trained. We will learn about ethics. We will learn about how doing what we ought to do and what is right. And so if some of you are passionate or you want to make a difference, please let this just be your first step in the going out there and getting that seat at the table and helping make some of the right decisions and saving our country. Okay? Okay, so just a little overview of history and where we're at, where compliance started, how old we are, 21 years. But we still partying and staying out late, and we're not at full maturity yet, but we've come a long way. Okay, but like I said, regulation is very expensive. Nobody pays for it. Organizations are against it. You do have some difficulty in this constant fight within the compliance department to ensure that the organization remains compliant. Some companies could simply not afford it, could not afford the training every year for their staff, could not afford the system that had to be put in place to assist the staff, could not afford the minimum $50,000 for a compliance officer, and that was just a junior. And then you need an entire department. So you're looking at $500,000 for an entire department, probably $1 million with a good savvy system and no return, right? So that's why I say they more interested in sales and the people who generate revenue, and compliance gets left behind. So you really have to push and fight and for them to fund you. We even had to push and fight for bonuses some years. Okay, but again, anything worth having is difficult and it's hard, but you eventually get there, so you can't give up. Okay, so that's a little bit of history. Are there any questions so far? Are we still on track, or you get me? Okay, good.
Well, I have one question.
Go ahead.
With reference to being blacklisted, I don't know if this is a non sequitur or not, but what is the purpose of CESRA and BOSS if we're going to be blacklisted? Because you can't physically come in here because of a pandemic or anything else. My understanding is that these things are put in place so that you can monitor. So if you have these systems, why can't the regulators or the higher ups just, I guess, audit or whatever they do from abroad? Is the system then, does it make any sense? If the reason for using all that stuff, the portals and all that they've created to put in all this information on your clients and all this stuff redundant, like, does it make sense?
Well, it makes sense, but then you're dealing with human beings. And think about it. If you're in a position and they say you could sit at this computer in my very icy cold country and do a review, or you could fly to the beautiful Bahamas and make it a vacation at the same time, what would you do?
But it still makes no sense. I'm
telling you, that's what it was.
You pay the money for this system, and I think BDO in Canada does the BOSS. I don't know who does the system for CESRA. I think the AG oversees that.
No, the Compliance Commission.
What's the point of it if you just mad because you're in your cold country?
Listen, they want a vacation, and that's as simple as it is. They want a vacation, but honestly, okay, nobody was prepared for the pandemic. Nobody in the world, right? And so it happened, and they did offer teleconferences to other countries, and they simply told us that they couldn't offer us a teleconference or they would get back to us. And then the next thing we know, we were blacklisted. And of course, at that time, the opposition's job is just to oppose. And so they put it out in the news that other countries were getting teleconferences and the government did not do all it could, but they in fact did ask, and they just never responded. Because again, sometimes blacklisting us makes it more profitable for their country. And that's why I'm saying, if you indeed don't have a seat at the table and you see the Bahamas as a competition, you're going to make it difficult for the competition, right? And so that's exactly what Germany did. That is what the Netherlands did. They are the competition. This is what, if Switzerland, if the Bahamas is shut down and nobody's going to open an account with them because they're blacklisted and high risk, I come into Switzerland to open up an account. See, not only the Bahamas was deficient in these regulations, all over the world they were deficient. When Switzerland, I have a Swiss colleague who said they had 250 banks and trust licenses, and when they implemented these policies and procedures and these laws, they now only have 50. 200 of them could not survive. So what do you think they would do to the competition? They fishing for business all, these people about the money, you know, they fishing for business all over. So yeah, the Bahamas never does what they're supposed to do anyway. So let's get some of their customers now whilst we could, whilst they blacklisted. Okay? Because that was Peter Turnquest's argument. I'm a small country. I don't have the funds that America has or with Switzerland. You have to work with me to use a staggered approach, or you wipe out my entire financial services sector. And essentially, over the 21-year period, we lost 17%. For the first time, Royal Bank been around for 108 years. And you could tell me that Royal Bank survived for the first 100 years with no closures. And then in the last 10 years, a bank closing now left, right, center. Scotia Bank, left, right, center, everything being outsourced. That affects, you know, these boutique banks cannot survive. Let's look at the accounting firms, the real estate firms, and law firms. Higgs and Johnson that have the corporate service providers are. Higgs and Johnson could survive. Who else? Deloitte and Touche could survive. Mario Carey could survive. They could get $100,000 to implement a department. But let's look at little David Seymour and Co. or Bullitt and Co. We can barely pay the rent. Where we gonna go talk with a person who qualified and who won benefits with this? The compliance when I back then at Royal was making $8,000 minimum.
Wow.
What benefit we could offer them? What? They can't go on no trips. We can't afford them to fly to Miami for training and give them a cell phone and gas allowance and gym membership and insurance. No, we closed down. That's it. We out the game, right? So this is why we had to use the staggered approach. Okay, because 21 years ago we would have been gone off the map. Financial services sector gone, and now look at tourism going. Thank God it is rebounding. But now we facing the tech hub. No more really brick and mortar needed. This pandemic has pushed us online. We have no choice. This is the new norm. Will we lose or will we gain? What will be the effects? And so now, and in my ICA book, this is what I just taught my class the last semester. Our compliance professionals properly trained in Fintech, all this technology. Do we understand RegTech? Have we even heard it? Do we even know what it is? Okay, so I encourage all of you to subscribe to the Securities Commission, whether it's your regulator or not. And there's a FinTech hub that you follow, and they have various seminars and forums, and when law comes out, because we have a new currency, a digital currency, the sand dollar. We need to know about it. We need to know about cryptocurrency and how it works and the risks associated with it. We need to keep abreast, because when we only working from home, can we survive, or will we just be learning as compliant? You know, what about digital currency and all this technology and the risks associated with it? So please, all of you, I could make sure put an exam on the final exam, question on the final exam about the FinTech hub to make sure you all join. Okay. Thank you. Right. Okay. Another thing.
That's FinTech.
Securities Commission. Just go to the search bar and put FinTech Hub and follow it.
FinTech
Hub. Financial services.
This is on the Securities Commission website?
Wow.
Securities Commission website. The search bar. FinTech, right? And so you will be able to take up the online world is RegTech. So be familiar with those terms, know what artificial intelligence is, know, the risks associated with it.
You
Okay?
can repeat it, please? My internet was kind of freezing.
Okay, so I'm just saying RegTech is the regulation that goes along with FinTech. Okay, so be familiar with those words. Follow them on the Securities Commission is our FinTech hub, and they have forums, they have seminars, they have all sorts of knowledge. You need to know about crowdfunding. That's like the GoFundMe for the Bahamas. You need to know about cryptocurrency. You need to know about the sand dollar, which is the digital currency, because one of the reasons why the Bahamas is sometimes seen as high risk is because we're too cash intensive. So they created a digital currency. It is not cryptocurrency, it's a digital currency. Okay, so you need to know these things when people talking about them, and when you're in compliance and your organization says we'd like to introduce cryptocurrency or accept sand dollar, you should already be abreast and know what the risks are associated with it. Okay, so get current, and this is the new norm. You can't keep fighting. I have some people saying I have to come into the class. Nobody comes into the class any longer. I mean, when this pandemic ends, people still want to go, this is the new norm. This is the new way. This is how business is going to be done. Don't expect to show up to a brick and mortar building anymore. Or try organizing space at home. Try, because this is going to be, people are not going to want to pay overhead and electricity and toilet paper and water and coffee. They can say, let me give you $50 more on your salary and you stay at home, because I see how much money I save in electricity bill by not having you sit up here. Okay, so be abreast and stay current. Okay,
Ms. Bullard, excuse me, you said FinTech Hub, associated RegTech, crowd financing, sand dollar, artificial intelligence, and what else?
FinTech is all the online banks and services, PayPal, all those various where you can pay e-commerce. Okay, they fall under FinTech, right? The policy and procedures and the laws to govern them is RegTech. Okay, I said to go on the Securities Commission website and follow the FinTech hub. That will give you great information about each of these FinTech and RegTech for the Bahamas. What you should find there and what you should know about is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is that awful system that when you call Royal Bank of Canada and they say, press 1 for this, press 2 to go here, go around the world 3 times, hang up on yourself and call back. Yeah, that's artificial intelligence. We pull it, hates that. Okay, then there is the sand dollar. It's the new digital currency for the Bahamas. It is not cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is high risk. There's a lot of risk associated with it. The sand dollar is our beautiful little digital currency in the Bahamas. Not many risks associated. Each Bahamian should be using it, so the Bahamas does not be seen as very cash intensive, because that could cause us to be high risk. If we're high risk, nobody's going to do business with us. Then there is crowdfunding. That's like GoFundMe in America. A lot of us, we still collecting money for our friends who have COVID or who are sick or who need assistance. We have 2 Bahamians and $1 million on hold for GoFundMe, because GoFundMe says you must be US or Canadian citizens so they can get their taxes. But some Bahamians who escaped to the US and wasn't straight, go on to sign up, and now hold $1 million from Hurricane Joaquin still on hold, and we done had 3 other hurricanes since then and didn't need that money. So we create our own GoFundMe, and so Alive controls that platform. So of course there are policy and procedures in place that you have to follow. So find out about the crowdfunding for the Bahamas. Okay, so know about these things. And so I want to backtrack, because I went south instead of explaining this to, I think it was, who was it? Said that there are many opportunities in compliance. Somebody said it earlier, Devonia. Yeah, but and Indira, yeah, but I Miss Bullet went south talking about something else. But In my class, I have people from the pharmaceutical commission in my other class. I said, what y'all doing here? They say, "Child, Miss Bullet, we have some people out there who just given out prescriptions and in going to attend the doctor." I said, "Miss, I'm not gonna train you on how to wipe out my good African, because when Miss Bullet don't have no money to go to the doctor, I go right down to my good African pharmacist and he gives me my prescription. Now you sitting up in this class telling me you here to establish a compliance department to wipe him out? No way. I had to put him out the class." I say, "No, I ain't giving you all the whole story. I can give you all part of it." But that's see, I could not believe it. I see, so now what I can do, you all know what I'm talking about, right? Only Miss Bullet is used them. Y'all don't break the law.
No, I know what you're
Oh,
talking
Okay,
about.
that's good.
no,
Y'all
no,
think
I
you
don't
know
break
it.
the law.
At least
Y'all
I
be
know.
better than me. No, y'all looking at me like Miss Bullet is being recorded. Y'all
No
be better than
judgment
Miss
here.
Yes,
Bullet.
Miss Bullet, you're
Miss Bullet, I know
incriminating
what you're
yourself.
talking about.
Yes, but
Yes.
in a few years, I can't, you know, more because the people sitting up in the class establishing a compliance department. Okay, I have 4 people from Rubus. What they was doing here?
The gas station.
Yes, they need a compliance department to ensure that a truck had a spill and the truck did not
They didn't report
clean
it.
up the spill properly and nobody was there to enforce it. So now the gas line establishing compliance. I have the police. I have from all walks of life. I had somebody out of agriculture because marijuana is not illegal.
Yeah.
Who can protect these fields? You all see the people out there saying, "I can't, you know, Lord, stop them from thieving my mango and my canap and my peas." Who can stop them from thieving the marijuana tree? Oh, okay. So please, this is widespread. Our newest industry is going to need compliance. I went on an interview with one of the regulators, and that's the first thing they asked me. They said, "How do you feel about the new law? And if given this position, what would you implement to ensure that the marijuana organization or businesses are compliant?" I said, "I support it 100% if that gives me any points, you know." And I think this.
We can't hear you.
So I said, would it?
It's freezing a bit. Wait, is this my computer?
No,
No, it's not your computer.
that's her.
It's Ballard's computer.
Okay, she left.
She's coming back in. Same thing happened on Tuesday.
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, she should soon be back in.
So Kenrick,
Hey,
we can start putting our numbers in the chat for you to do the group, right? That's cool with you?
not my, y'all my Miss Bullet. If you all see what I got to do for customer services and marketing, the other
Yeah,
class,
that's why we in this together. Why you like that?
somebody else take that on.
Okay, well, I can't take
This semester is a little bit heavy for me.
that on. Okay, so who's gonna take that on?
You could take it on.
No, I can't.
I can create the group. You can send the numbers in the chat and I'll create the group.
Okay, I'll do it. Okay, I'll send mine now. Thanks, dear.
Welcome.
I have so much groups. My phone could be all on. My phone could sound crash.
I'm just gonna stay on my phone because I keep getting hit out off of the computer. I don't know why. Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Yeah, sorry about that. This been bad. I've been trying to fix this all week. But anyway, is out there. Don't just think financial services sector, and of course, oil and gas and marijuana. They could pay way a whole lot of money, and it's just a matter of reading.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, it's just a matter of reading. I don't know when this is hitting me off. I don't know why.
You're echoing because you are on twice. Somehow you're on twice. So you have to get off of one.
It seems like every time I hit unmute, it just hits me off, but I'm gonna stay on my phone, so hopefully this should work. Okay, I'll be still there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, I apologize. Let me just stay on the phone and hopefully this works. Okay, so yeah, give Kendrick a little break, and then there are many different industries that, like I say, it'll be the same concepts. You would have to go in and learn the laws. You would have to go in and read the policies and procedures and see who the regulators are, and just take some time to learn the industry, and you should be fine. Okay, I'm trying to see somebody send something in the chat. Oh, that's just a person sending their numbers. Okay, good. Good. And like I say, support is very important, and it really, really helps, because there are going to be some days when you just feel like giving up, and you know that you hopefully have that person there to keep you encouraged. Okay, so are there any questions, or can Ms. Bullard go on to the book?
You could go on to the book.
Go on to the book, ma'am.
Okay, so chapter 1 and 2 we are going to cover. It shouldn't take us very long. There are 8 small chapters. Each chapter is about, like, chapter 1 is pretty 4 or 5 pages. Most of the chapters 2 to 5 pages. If you find it difficult reading these pages, then perhaps we will stop at the end of intro and won't go on to intermediate, because intermediate is double the pages of intro, and then ICA, you have about 80 pages each chapter. So if you find it difficult just reading 2 chapters and retaining it, then I wouldn't encourage anybody to go any further. So the book is made up of 8 chapters, 8 very, very small chapters. And then if you look at the back, there's an appendix with some practice questions on like the type of multiple choice questions you should expect is around page 60. If you look at the back of page 8, these are the type of multiple choice questions you can expect. And then there are some red flags. Sorry? Somebody got a question or no? No? Okay. You all still can hear me and everything is good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so then you go on to, after the appendix, there are some red flags and indicators, and then there are some cases that you could read. Again, all of this is just for awareness for what happens. There are currently 21 crimes under money laundering, and prior to 2018, money laundering was not a predicate crime on the Bahamas law books, but it is now. So back in the day, you would be charged with fraud. You would get 2 or 3 years, get a slap on the wrist, and be out of jail in 1. Now that money laundering is a predicate crime, you get charged with fraud and money laundering. So if you pay attention to the news, you will hear the extra charge of money laundering. You will hear extortion and money launder, counterfeiting and money laundering, bribery and corruption and money laundering. So that money laundering carries that heavy charge, so you still get the 3 or 4 years for the fraud, but you get like a 10-year sentence for that money laundering, okay? And that was internationally what they wanted to make it, have a more severe penalty so people took it seriously, okay? So you can read through the cases again and see what the outcomes are, and that's right after the appendix. And then you will see some colored paper and it'll say case 1, case 2, case 3, and case 4. And again, these are just excerpts from the internet, again, to give you awareness and to tell you where we are at. Most of us watch Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay, and so there's a series, because you could fall asleep. Yeah, you could fall asleep with all this reading. And so to make it a little bit exciting, there's a series called Dirty Money.
Yeah.
I encourage persons to watch. It's the one on HSBC and the Mexican drug lords. You could watch all, because there's even one on Volkswagen, how they defrauded the world. But watch the one on HSBC and the Mexican drug lords, and we'll talk about it next week, because again, I just want you to have the awareness, because sometimes things are not as they appear to be. So you want to watch that, and we'll talk about that next week, because if Ms. Bullitt start talking about that, that'll be another hour. So we'll save that for next week. Okay, so
hi, hello, Ms. Bullitt.
Hi.
Hi, sorry, could you repeat the name of the series on Netflix again for me?
Dirty Money.
Dirty Money. Oh, okay. Yeah,
and I think it's season 1, number 4, and just put in HSBC and the Mexican drug lords.
Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, and then we'll talk about that next week. And again, watch it for awareness, because you will fall off your seat, and that is a true story. Okay, so please watch it. Okay, so I'm going to give somebody the opportunity to get their full 5% right now. So I'm going to ask for a volunteer, and we're going to all read case 1. And just to give you some tips now, there are 2 programs. There's ICA, and then there is ACAMS. And ACAMS, they put out a lot of seminars and webinars and stuff like that. They are the US version to this program. ICA is the UK version. They are not as stringent and detailed as the UK version. Well, of course, we support it, but this excerpt is from ACAMS, and the regulators accept it, but we like I say, you learn more US law rather than UK law, and Bahamas is a common law jurisdiction, so it's best that you learn the common law rather than, US law, which is civil. Okay, so I want to volunteer, please, to read case 1. Do we see, it says, so you just became the new money laundering officer, 5 ways to help you get started.
Which page is that, Ms. Bullitt?
So look at the back of the book for the colored paper.
That's page 67.
67?
Yeah, because after you won't see, after 66, you won't see numbering because it's, like I said, just excerpts. Okay, so case 2 will be, it says anti-money laundering with a hand on it, and there are some practice multiple choice questions too that you can do in your own time. And if you have any questions, just come back and let me know. But we want to deal with case 1 and we want to volunteer to read 5% right up front.
I'll read, I guess.
Okay. Let me get this name. Let me see. Sharika Alton. Shakira, excuse me with the name. I was probably gonna do better.
That's fine.
Hold on.
Just look at page 66 and you'll see the green paper that says case 1 and the page after that.
Just to clarify, this is the ICA handbook?
No,
That's
not
a
the handbook. This is the
No.
so this workbook that was given to us.
Okay, see, mine says case 3.
Oh, so you don't have a case 1?
No, I don't know. It's only one green paper. It says case 3 and it says,
No, you gotta go more, you gotta go further up to the front.
okay,
Okay.
let's go back.
So this is a book that was not emailed. This is a hard copy.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
you have to pick it up from the office.
Okay, thank you.
So do you have the book or no?
Okay, I got it.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's Sharika. You said you don't have the book.
That's Crystal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you have to go and visit the office and pick the book up.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay, great. Shakira, are you good? Do you have the book?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
And you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
Congratulations. You have just become part of what is perhaps the fastest growing and hardest profession in the world. Money laundering compliance officers are highly sought after professionals and quite scarce. I am certain you're already overwhelmed with both the challenges and the prospects of your new position. The following 5 ideas aim to help you embark on a fruitful and exciting journey where you can learn and at the same time prove to be a valuable asset to your organization. 1, make time to understand your business. For an MLCO to be effective, he or she must make the time to really learn and understand the business he or she is trying to protect. Writing policies, reading suspicious reports, monitoring and training become pointless if you do not understand the environment you are in and the needs of your peers at the front line. Sorry?
I think someone has to mute their mic.
Take time to sit with them, engage in their day-to-day activities and make inquiries in regards to the challenges they face and issues with which they need help. Ask to be prepared to listen to what they have to say. That will help you truly understand what they are doing and how you can become a valuable and necessary partner. 2, there is no shame in training. People sometimes think that when they get their dream job, they can avoid further training, mainly because they seem to have already proven that they are up to the challenge. I have news for you. This is not the case. There should be no shame in receiving training. Training should be continuous, even if you are repeating yourself. Try to find training opportunities in your area, in your town, in your country, and internationally. Choose carefully and try to find those seminars or workshops that will help you in successfully discharging your duties. Trainings can even provide you with ideas for conducting your own training for your colleagues. There are many training opportunities on anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing, but there are also more specialized ones about the role of the MLCO and writing MLCO reports. It is important to realize and appreciate that the costs for such trainings are very small when compared to the personal benefits you will receive, and more importantly, for your organization. 3, seek resources outside of your immediate environment. Do not concentrate just on the local legislation and the relevant regulatory guidelines or directives. Those are obviously important, but they are not enough. It is equally, if not more important, to broaden your horizons. The European AML directives apply across all of Europe, so you will find that there is more guidance out there that will help you understand your duties and how to be more effective. There is also useful guidance from US regulators, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, Australia, New Zealand, and more. Just use Google search. A number of professional bodies also offer free subscription newsletters on Know Your Customer and AML, as well as general compliance and ethic matters. The MLCO role requires a lot of critical thinking and analysis, and accordingly, I would advise you to set up your own library of guidance notes, training materials, presentations, articles, and case studies. Organize these into folders and refer to them when you're uncertain about a situation or when you feel like confirming something before you make a business decision or provide advice. Also, there are some useful and current books on AML and CTF, as well as general compliance management. They can be helpful both as a tool to get you started, but also as a reference from time to time. 4, memberships to professional organizations. Nowadays, one can find quite a few professional membership organizations for AML compliance professionals. One of the best ones to subscribe to is the Association of Certified Anti-Money Laundering Specialists, ACAMS. Becoming a member of one or more of these organizations opens the doors to abundant resources and practical tools to help you perform your duties and excel in what you do. Some of these organizations also offer training opportunities, seminars, and conferences you can attend to become and stay current with what is happening in the AML world. Specifically, ACAMS offers CAM certification, the gold standard in AML certifications, and also organizes a number of conferences in Europe and the rest of the world. These are especially useful to anti-financial crime professionals. 5, network. Attending relevant conferences in your country or abroad is a great way to meet with peers. Networking is very important in today's fast-paced environment. It is vital to exchange ideas, to share resources and experience, and to seek help. Many of the professional membership organizations offer local chapters or forums where members can gather and organize relevant and specialized trainings, exchange ideas on the way they do things, and even have fun together. Also, social media is very important. Use LinkedIn or even Facebook and Twitter to follow professional bodies and professional membership organizations that share important news as they happen. You can then share what you've learned with your colleagues. Your colleagues will appreciate the valuable and relevant information you provide. Contrary to popular belief, MLCOs can be an exciting, popular, and innovative person and a valuable asset to his or her colleagues and their organization. Remember to be open and welcoming and embrace the challenges and prospects of your position and to be prepared to make a difference.
Okay, excellent. Sharika, right up front, you have that 5%, so excellent. Thank you for that. Okay, and so I just want to reiterate that library is very important. If you're going to go all the way to ICA, keep all your papers, keep all your research, and store them in a proper order. Ms. Bullitt have a lot of an answer. I've already done my research and I have it organized in the headings: risk, FATF, the Bahamas, what's going on. And so please start your library and you will find it very useful. And especially if you're in the compliance department or plan to go there, all of these things are gonna be beneficial to you. And again, a lot of times your organization just wants to be a good, socially responsible. And so when there are seminars and meetings, and sometimes they are paid, they just buy a whole entire table and nobody shows up. So, find out who the movers and shakers in your company are and say, listen, nobody is going to go to that BACO meeting. I'd like to go. You get a free lunch. Or sometimes you just get good information. There are some free seminars that the Securities Commission and the Attorney General Office, they hold. Go and ask. And if nobody's going to attend, I will go on behalf of the company. The Bahamas Association of Compliance Officers, there's an application form. You send your CV and you can join now as a student. There is a membership fee. Normally companies pay for 2 memberships as a benefit. Now it's normally at a certain level, but you can ask, just like school fees. Ask, if this is a benefit that your company offers, ask. Millions of people in the United States are, the student loan debt is trillions of dollars. Don't get caught up in that. ask and find out what the benefits are of your company is, and hey, you just do your part and pass the class. Okay, so some of you, I expect to see you registering with BACO and becoming, students, and then becoming associates once you finish the program. Okay, give me some feedback on what Sharika read. Anybody have comments or want to give me some feedback, or I have to call some names? Okay, Cara Fountain, can you give us some feedback? Is Cara there?
Cara's there, sorry. Based on her reading, you just want me to like surmise it or what I got from it?
Yeah. What are your thoughts or your takeaways?
Okay, so this, I don't know if it's a case, but what she read was, it's basically fits me as that person, because I have worked in the legal field since forever. But the majority of my years in legal was in criminal firms. So 2 years ago, I joined a corporate firm, which does a little bit of everything, but mostly focuses on corporate and conveyancing. So my role in that company is corporate, and I'm the sole corporate person. So therefore, congratulations, you just become the newest, perhaps, that's me, So my takeaway is exactly why I am here, is to join these things, to get certified, to gain more knowledge, to network, and to train, just to learn and to better understand my field. I think my gravitation toward it was basically CESRA and BOSS. Trying to understand those acts better, why we need them, why we're doing them, why they're so tedious and to me made no sense, but trying to understand it was why that actually brought me here. It was basically the catapult. So this chapter really speaks to me being in this class today and everything they're saying here with the training, and to understand, gain more knowledge, and to become a part of these organizations to help me grow in my role, and to move further, faster. I guess hopefully I'm here for the long term. I do intend to pursue the ICA as well in January.
Okay, excellent. So you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing.
So Ms. B, if you don't want to do, let's say if I don't want to do the ICA and I just want to go and do the ACAM, that's okay? That'll be okay because it's independent self-study, yeah?
It'll be okay. I mean, whichever you decide, but ACAMs, like I said.
Which one is more powerful and more recognizable?
Both are recognizable. However, ACAMs is US, and if you don't work at a US bank, you don't need to learn a bunch of US laws. That's what I was saying. The UK is common law, and so is the Bahamas. So it's more detailed, it's more in-depth, and you won't learn half of the things that you will learn in ICA that you will learn in ACAM. So let me just give you an example. I have two persons who did ACAMs, and they are in my intro class.
That doesn't make no sense.
Okay, right. And they didn't know half of the things. They didn't learn half of the things, and they stopped. They couldn't. They said, well, we're just going to go to ICA. So one person paid and went to ICA and was not successful in the first one. Then she came to intro. So both as a lady and a gentleman, they're both in my next intro class, starting the whole process over from the beginning. And that was just their experience. Because she said she learned a lot of US law and none of it was applicable in her class. And see, this book was written locally. And so it pulls out, changes the UK law. And I only speak from Bahamian law. I don't waste my time with UK law. So with the ACAMs, they only teach you US law. So it wasn't very beneficial to us. So she said for functionality at work, she started over.
Wow. And how much is ICA?
It's 6,000 in total. 9 months of AML, 9 months of governance, risk, and compliance.
Okay.
Yeah. So you speak to Miss Jean at the office. They have
Yeah,
payment
I know.
plans and what have you, and they really work with you.
Yeah, I'm sure she's not gonna expect to get it.
I can hear you. I can't hear you. Hello, Indira?
Hi.
Yeah, you went out. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, so I guess they make like little payment plans. Christina's work with you now.
Okay, yes, great. Yes. Crystal, you wanted to say something? No? Okay, thank you for
I
that.
just wanted to know the name of the book.
The
But
name
I
of the
got it
book?
from Indy. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's hear from Tyrese and then we'll go on to chapter 1. Tyrese, are you there?
Hi, I'm here. My name is Tyrese Wiley. I'm currently working for a law firm. Compliance is something that I always was interested in. I was in banking for 10 years, and one day I want to be an MLRO of a company. What really sticks out to me in this article is no shame in training. That basically sticks out to me because every day these people get craftier, and you'll be surprised to know how the things they come up with and get away with. So training is a must. Training is
Correct.
a must and a plus. It's ongoing. You can't just go to a few training and then say, okay, I know it all. But you just have to, it's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing learning process with compliance to me. That's how I
Yeah.
feel.
Okay, correct. And thank you so much for sharing that. And you're on point because we can only mitigate risk. We can't eliminate it. Okay.
Right.
Whilst we work in 9 to 5, the hackers and the scanners, they work in 24 hours.
Yep,
It's
right.
up to infiltrate our system. The way, we can put controls in place, we can put safeguards, and they still find a way to defraud us. The way we don't go to jail, because first of all, the law prior to 2018 used to say just the compliance officer goes to jail. Now everybody goes to jail. Okay? And so the way you avoid yourself from going to jail is by knowing the policy and procedure and being able to explain it to the regulators. This is what the policy says. This is what the regulator says. I followed the policy and the procedure. I safeguarded the institution. I checked the controls, but they were still able to infiltrate us. But you was able to explain yourself and you were not negligent. So you don't go to jail. But what has been happening is investigators are coming into our institution and we can't explain ourselves. We don't even know which policy we're supposed to be following. And we definitely don't know what a control is. So when we can't explain ourselves and refer them to the policy and say, this is what I did to protect the institution. However, I'm no competition for the scanners or the scammers. You know what I mean? We can't explain ourselves and we don't know, and we're not properly trained. And so this is how we get charged with collusion and negligence and what have you. And it's only a matter of time because we're being internationally watched. And the regulators have commented, Bahamians just law-abiding citizens. We have never had somebody charged with money laundering until 2016. For the first time ever, MPs are being brought before the case, and all 3 or 4 of them off. I don't know if Kendrick Dorsett's still out on bail, but if he is, the BLP in power now, so he's straight. But they are watching. The president of Brazil has been impeached. All over Latin America, presidents are being impeached. The governor of the central bank has gone to jail. Account officers have gone to jail in Brazil. Because in Brazil, you are guilty until proven innocent. In the Bahamas, you are innocent until proven guilty. So if you work in a Brazilian firm, they come in, they ask you questions, you was just being negligent and these people infiltrate you, you go into jail till you can prove your innocence.
Wow.
Okay, and so that's where we are moving towards. So all of this is for us to educate ourselves, to know what positions that we should take. We might not be fully qualified, but you are to upgrade yourself and know the policies and procedures and train yourself and get some training to ensure that you can handle the position you in. Because a lot of people just in positions that they are not qualified for. And fine if somebody give you a hand up, but now you need to upgrade yourself. No, people sit there, they don't want to go to school, they want to take a big position, and they're taking a big risk. Gone are the days when you could get away with these things. Now you go into jail.
Yep.
Okay, so like I say, if somebody gives you a hand up, please do yourself a favor, because when you watch Dirty Money, you will learn, you will see the awareness of what really happens in a financial institution. Okay, so very good, and thank you for the feedback. Okay, so let's run through chapters 1 and 2, and I have a quick way of doing it, but we'll ensure that everybody understands. Are there any questions before we go to chapter 1?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay, we good. Let me make this short and sweet. Okay, so again, the name of the class is Anti-Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing. Okay, and let's see, the book says money laundering is a process where criminals, if they were successful, they conceal the ownership and origin of property from their criminal acts into the financial system. So what that really means is that persons do drug deals, they bribe, they do corruption, they tax evade, and like I said, there are 21 crimes on the money laundering. And then they try to get this money into the financial services sector, okay? And so criminals enterprise money so that it appears to be legitimate. There are 3 stages that they put this money through. I go out and do a drug deal, and then I want this money to appear as legitimate, that I went and worked for this instead of breaking the law. And so those 3 stages are placement, layering, and integration. So placement is where the cash is derived from criminal activity is infused into the financial services system. So basically, I go out and do a drug deal, but I have an account open, and the people to the banking and checking my profile to see if I could deposit this money or if this within my limits, because back in the day, there used to be thresholds. So the threshold used to say, if you deposit $5,000 or less, no, $4,999, you don't have to declare a source of funds. So that's exactly what people deposited, $4,000 or $4,999. Then the threshold increased to $10,000, so they deposited $9,999. Can somebody mute their mic, please? Okay, thank you. Okay, and so then the threshold increased to $15,000. So people deposited $49.99. Is that correct? Are we familiar with that process?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So the regulators decided we need to remove thresholds and replace thresholds with profiles. Persons need to establish profiles. And by establishing a profile, Ms. Bullitt, when she goes in the bank and she wants to open up an account, after we identify her, she needs to bring her job letter. We need to make sure that she says she's going to deposit $5,000 a month. She makes $5,000 a month. Okay, because we do have Michelle Reckley from Urban Renewal with a job letter saying that this is for my salary. I'm going to deposit $2,500 on it. Okay, so she will into CIBC, into the Teachers Credit Union, and persons did not know. They did not realize it. Okay, all this is in the newspaper, and so that's why I call in their names, and we're gonna pull this up and we are going to read through it. Okay,
Miss Fuller, say that again.
She infused the money into the financial services sector. She placed the money into those 2 establishments.
Oh, wow.
When was this?
In 2016, before the laws changed. So she essentially got 59 charges, but a lot of them, when they put the laws in place in 2018, they were not retroactive. So she committed the crime in 2016, so she got off a lot of the charges because at the time she committed the crime, the laws were not in place. However, now the PLP government in power, and they said it was just a rich hunt, so all of that probably would go on the table. It's on the news. I mean, it's in the newspaper. Google Tribune242.com, and it'll tell you exactly what happened. Or when we get to chapter 8, we're going to study that case. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah. So placement, do we understand placement? I go out and do this drug deal, or I go out and I'm successfully able to launder this money into the system without being detected. I place this money into financial services system, right? So the second stage is then layering. It usually involves a complex system of transactions designed to hide the source and ownership of the fund. So then I say, transfer this money to Kendrick, send some to Devonia, pay my children's school fee, do all these different things. So in the offshore world, nobody walks into the bank and makes a deposit or withdrawal. They just send an instruction to transfer money. And so you will see that they transfer money between two accounts, or like they try to diminish the audit trail. Okay, and so they create different layers. They buy some stock. They say, put 25,000 on my credit card. They do all sorts of stuff. So the person looking at the account, like you'd actually have to investigate and pull all these transactions to see exactly what this person was trying to do with this money. Okay, so that's layering, creating a complex web of transactions to try and disguise that these people don't know I just sell peanuts and I deposit in all this money. Okay, and then integration. Once I see that the money in the financials, I placed it in, I wire it around, some money on Kendrick account, then Kendrick will send that back to me. And now my children's school fees need to pay. And so I can say, send a wire to Queen's College. They send the wire to Queen's College to pay the school fees. Queen's College then pays their light bill with that money or pays their staff with that money. So now that goes back into the reintroduced into the economy, right? And now the money is clean. Okay, so a very popular question on the final exam, it asks you, what happens in the placement stage? Or what happens in the integration stage? And of course, you start with a nice little short introduction. And you get a lot of information. So it is important to scale it down and put meat in there and make sure you get points for what you write. You know, don't be like Miss Bullet, long-winded, talking about, you know, back in 1984, this happened and whatever. No, stick to the point, placement, layering, integration, and then give us an example. And my example is that when I was at Royal Bank, I was the customer service supervisor at Finkel Robinson Road, Key West Street. And so we had our car wash guy there. And our car wash guy was Yadi, and just like a lot of other places, you all have a Yadi out there. You all have somebody out there cleaning your cars, and you all just know Yadi. And so Yadi came into the bank and he said, Miss Bullet, you know, I really want to save and I want to open an account. So I said, okay, go to customer service, give them your passport, what have you. How much money can you deposit? So he said $50 a week if you all make sure that I clean your cars at least, you know, twice every 2 weeks or something like that, or once a week, you know, that'll keep me afloat. I said, yeah, man, I can patronize you because I know you're trying to make a difference. So over the space of 2 years, he was depositing the $50. He was very proud of him and everything was working out. And then one day, Yadi said, Miss Bullet, I can't come into your office, say, I can clean your car for free. I say, yeah. I said, but no, Yadi, you need this money. I don't have a problem paying. So I let him come into my office and he said, Dan, he said, Miss Bullet, I just hit a lick. This $10,000 I won't put on my account. What Miss Bullet must do?
Miss Bullet can accept that.
Procedure.
Question him and ask him where you get the
Source
money
of
from.
funds.
Because
Yes,
you
one.
only wash car, so when you get $10,000.
Yeah, say he had a lick. So when he
He had a good weekend, man. He had 60 cars.
I mean, it didn't look at me and you win a number, but I mean, and you gotta question him.
Okay, so he say he had a lick. Mom is bullet, I like want to be respectful to you and I want to give you all the details, but that's what I do. I had a lick.
No.
Thank you. That is not accepted.
No.
Okay, but that's what really happens in the real life, right? And so we can't tip off because we learned that tipping off, there's a fine. I can't say, Yadi, man, I can't take this money because I have to put this on hold and we can do an STR. So I had to take the money, deposit it to his account, and then file an STR. Okay? But a lot of times we say, Yadi, man, just go and run out the bank with this money and don't look back. Don't come back in here. Right? What we do? That's what we say, right? But we are committed. We cannot fail to disclose whenever you work in the financial services sector, when they onboard you as a new employee, all those things that you sign that you don't read, one of them says, compliance is everybody's business. You cannot fail to disclose and you cannot tip off or you go to jail. Do you all know that?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but are we doing this? Or are we saying, Yadi, please come out this bank, take this money and run?
Take the money and report it to the
And
MLRO.
report in the STR.
Okay.
That's what you gotta do.
But this my boy.
Okay,
Who
so
will clean my car? If I report Yadi and Yadi go to jail, who will clean my car?
Right.
Well,
So
it's
you're
hot.
saying, you're
Jail
saying,
hot.
And then the thing is, you don't take him off. You don't let him know that you
right. You don't
aware
let
of
him
what
know.
he's doing.
Right.
You
Okay.
accept it, and then you write it up and you turn it into your MLR. LRO, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, good answer. And even if we know them, okay,
Right.
this is our duty that to our institution that we cannot tip off the clients. Does that always happen? No.
No,
But
it doesn't.
Okay.
No.
Good. All right. Crystal, you want to say something?
But if you accept those funds, and those funds would be integrated into the system.
Right.
No, because
I know
you
the
accepting that
STR
on
has to be
hold.
done.
Yeah, but you're putting that on hold.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
the police is going to use that as their evidence. They can't, if we just let him withdraw it back out, then they have no evidence. So what you would find is that the MLRO will do an investigation and then she will file the STR. And I think I was telling, it was this class where I said at the back of a signature card, it says that the bank is allowed to hold the money for 3 days. So within 3 days, you would need to file that STR, call the FIU and ask them, what do you want us to do? And they can send a writ to freeze the account. Okay?
Okay.
Somebody in my other class said, it's our policy to tell them people that's outside of their profile, they can't accept it. But then are you not tipping them off? And are you not helping with the fight to money launder? Because they just go into another bank and they get decreased the amount. Correct?
Yeah,
Doesn't
you are
make
so
sense
correct.
to actually just say, okay, it can't be deposited. It has to be some other procedures, as in confiscating it or dealing with it, because they just giving them the leeway to just do it more and just feeling no consequences of what they're doing.
Correct. Correct. And they just, like I say, go to another branch and say, I got deposited $1,000 left. And then in the background, the person who's doing transaction monitoring will see that Miss Bullet went to Carmichael and deposited 1,000, went to JFK and deposited 1,000, and then went to Bay Street. She's still over her limit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so that's
Right.
smurfing. That's smurfing.
Or
That's what it is.
say for instance, when a customer comes in, a note will be in the system saying that either this customer cannot is only allowed to deposit a certain amount, or they can't deposit any with a LRO.
Okay. But again, it's that, people say, well, compliance need to see you, or compliance, you should never refer to compliance, and in the MLRO should never speak to customers. The MLRO is independent of the business. And so therefore, she should investigate that, or he should investigate that in the background. So I'm very sad. I mean, there's different policy across institutions, and the Canadians do business different from the Swiss, and, so perhaps that, but I've worked with Canadians and the Swiss, and I have never spoken to a client when I was the MLRO, and I have trained my staff to say, you don't refer anything to me. You know what the policy is, you face that, and I do my investigation in the background. Because I get
that heads up. Thank you for that, though, because I do agree with you. I do. And something I will.
Yeah, you bring it forward as a suggestion now. If you're not the decision maker, you have to bring it to, you recommend this, and you must always be diplomatic in your responses. And so this is a recommendation, and this is why you network, because you need to find out what other MLROs are doing. And perhaps if you suggest this and there's no change, the MLRO does have an audience with the regulator once a year where they voice these concerns and say, listen, I've spoken to this institution many times, and they still insist that I speak to clients, or, and this is a form of tipping off.
Right.
Yeah, so you should be totally independent of the business. It doesn't normally happen, but you should be at least 80% independent of the business. But I don't ever speak to clients, ever. And I've been asked to sit in client meetings, and I say, no, 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 no. A client even invited us to Italy. No, that's for salespeople to do. When we offer correspondent banking services, we have to go into the banks in the various countries and audit them. But we deal with compliance. We don't ever speak to customers. So you have to maintain that, draw the line, and maintain that independence, so you are never influenced.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. So we understand the stages, and we understand how this money gets into the bank and then back into the system.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Another story, and what is very important, if Yadi didn't open an account with us, we would have never known his name. Okay. The Securities Commission was just defrauded of $800,000 by the guy that cleans their cars. Somebody left their computer bag, like I always do, and hand my keys right over to Yadi and let him clean my car. That person, had they known his name, they would have been able to world check him. Check all your vendors. You can't just world check clients and staff, but the vendors as well, because you will find that a lot of them are out on bail or would have done something scrupulous or been charged, and then you need to make a determination whether or not you're going to be doing business with him. So here's this guy, sets up at the Securities Commission. He'd been there for about 5 years washing cars. They never knew his name, just an alias, Yadi or Car Wash Boy or Washy or whatever they call them now. And this guy was out on bail for robbing Commonwealth Bank. But they did not know his name until he defrauded them of $800,000. Got caught, and now all across the news, suspected armed robber, Jeremy this and that, defrauded, the Securities Commission. So do we not have these same car wash people? And the people who come and sell us lunch and peanuts and all these different things, do we ever world check them? Do we send them to the cause list? Do we do any background checks on them to see who these people really are? Do we ever know their names? No, right? But we hand them our car keys.
No, we
with
don't.
Our house key on that key. They could cut our car key, they could cut our house key, and they could come in and rob us. And we don't even know their name. Okay, so just an eye opener to be vigilant and do the various checks and balances, even to the car wash person, the janitress, the person who come in to sell the fruit salad. All these people, you letting them come into your institution. The guy who sell the twists, what is his name? And if he out on bail, he been selling us twists for 5 years, let your staff go out into the parking lot and buy his twists. Okay, y'all have all these same people coming to your office too, right?
Yes, I've had this conversation many times.
Yep.
That's
We
true.
need
So
to come
lady
across
who
the
sell cake in
reception
the
area.
parking lot, we call a cake lady. So
Okay, so if cake lady out on bail for armed robbery, you don't know?
No.
That's true.
Okay, but wouldn't you want to know?
Yeah.
I'd like to know. Go to work and write down all the vendors, all the people who access your policy, the valets, the Wallace Curry who is put the air freshener, and that air freshener smells so good. I had to find out, the bathroom smells so good, I need this in my house. Okay? You all know the case of Alma Chase, who just, her son was out on bail for defrauding BPM. And now they defraud the Ministry of Tourism.
Wow.
No, I didn't hear about that case, but I remember when I was working somewhere, this guy was my manager, and he was very, very quiet. He never really spoke to any of us unless he had to. And he was going by a different name. And when I found out his real name, I looked him up online, and I found out he defrauded a bank over here out of $1.3 million.
Okay, and he's sitting up there as your manager.
And he was quiet.
But he was laying low, he had sense. Okay, so like I said, the Wallace, he have an air freshener business, nice air freshener man. I had to find out who he was. When I found out who he was, he's driving a Mercedes Benz. He's fly by Learjet, private jet, and everything. And I say, offer air freshener. I need to go into the air freshener business. Next thing I know, the Wallace being handcuffed for crossing. He been to all the insurance companies all over. Have done air freshener. Huh? Sorry?
Is he a Curry?
Yeah, he's a Curry, the Wallace.
He went to school. He went to school with me. He always had that intention.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Okay. He had one.
Too much.
But he in every financial institution.
It didn't happen once. It happened more than once.
More than once.
Yeah.
But I can promise you, if you all go into your bathroom and smell that air freshener, that's from his company. And you all don't even know. And I still need some of that air freshener, but I gotta meet him on the corner. I gotta meet him on the corner to get that, because he need all the bail money right now possible. But the air freshener is a good one. Okay, but anyway, you all get my drift. So protect yourself. Don't cut these people off and what have you. But you know, if they have a record, meet them across the road. But there's a clear desk policy. Trust me, when he personally come to put that air freshener in that bathroom. You know why? Because everybody desk who have something on it, he can slip it away. Everybody garbage, he taking out and taking home and going through. Okay? So that's why shredding is okay. I have a friend that works on the garbage truck, and he tell me he's bring me checkbooks and stuff. But look at this. Okay, look at this, a signature on this check, or this and that. It only has to get into the wrong hands, and trust you me. Down from it. So just be vigilant and be careful and check everybody. This is a bank. Whenever you're dealing with money, check everybody. Especially, let me tell you who defrauded the bank where I was working, my teller of the year. I used to drop her home. I used to pick a baby up from school. I was so proud of her. And when promotion come up, I put her in school, make the bank paying your school fee, make sure I get this promotion. She robbed every blind, deaf, every disabled person. She used to run the state there. $70,000 from the blind one. My best teller of the year. Her face was up on the wall. When you walk in the bank, you get to see her. Okay? Be careful. Be careful. Okay, so we understand placement, we understand layering, we understand integration. Predicate crimes, there are 21 crimes under money laundering. And on page 9, it lists fraud, theft, counterfeiting, drug dealing, corruption and bribery, breaches of sanctions, people trafficking, tax evasion, smuggling. And with people trafficking, I see an employee of Commonwealth Bank was just locked up with his girlfriend for trafficking underage girls. Okay, so they will be charged with human trafficking or people trafficking and money laundering, smuggling and money laundering, fraud and money laundering. And like I said, we are being internationally watched. So gone are the days when you get a slap on the wrist and say, you know, I can spend 2 years out of this 4 years. No, you're going to jail and you can spend your time. Okay, so any questions about money laundering? Do we understand? It's just an overview. There are a lot of examples in the book. You can go online and Google them to just show you how these people go through all type of vicious cycles to try and defraud you. And they sit in your face and you think they're so open and honest. You're so happy for the sale to open this account. And the whole time it's just to defraud the system. Okay, so you want to be very, very careful and ensure you remain vigilant and you know exactly, what your position entails. And like I said, when you watch Dirty Money, you'll get some awareness, so you will know hopefully how to stay, not be negligent. Okay, be clear on chapter 1.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Concerns? No? Shanika Marshall, give me some feedback on chapter 1, please. Shanika Marshall is there? No Shanika Marshall. Crystal Maki Fraser, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay, give me some feedback on chapter 1, please.
I really like it because I come from I was a police officer for 13 years, and I just recently went into banking. And everything with money laundering, well, I'm already familiar with. And it was suggested to me by a few friends that I take this course because I'm very analytical. I like structure. I like things to go the way it's supposed to go, because doing what you're supposed to do according to how it's supposed to be done, it always leaves less room for these things like this to happen, to prevent money laundering. But the chapter was very informative. It's an introduction on what it is, layering, integration, placement, familiar with that. And I'm just excited for the course, just to increase my awareness now being in banking.
Okay, excellent. And again, we've had many police officers as well, and they've moved on to the FIU. And surprisingly, I've had about 6 customs officers now, because they had a big heist on Rolex watches that was stolen and stuff like that. And so they were all sent to the compliance course. So like I said, there's so many industries now that all need compliance. So very good. And I'm glad that you're excited. And I hope that you maintain that momentum the entire way through. Okay.
Thank
so
you. Also, Bullet, I wanted to say thank you for touching on the being a mother pack, because while you were saying that, I had my PO in my hand. I say, you know what's going on. Yes, thank you.
No, it is difficult to work and go to school, and it's very hard. So I'm telling you, speak to those significant others, speak to those family members and say, please, I need your support.
I say, hubby, you hear what Ms. Bullet say? You need to step it up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You have to. You need that uninterrupted time. And then you need to relax. You need 1 day to relax and unwind and just feel good. And then you retain this. And then you can make it up to them later on. When you make this big money, you will take them on an application. You will say, this was all your support.
That's what he say. He say, spoil me.
Yeah. So he can get his turn. So it's your turn now.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay, good. So I'm glad that we are engaged and we understand money laundering. So let's go on to chapter 2. Okay. And chapter 2 talks about terrorist financing. And again, this is my quickest way, because I know we've gotten a lot of information today, and I want y'all to be able to retain this and go back to it and understand it. Okay. So I'm trying to give you as limited and condensed information and just the important parts. And I hope this resonates with you, and this is the best way. Okay, so we want to talk about terrorism. And of course, when we think about terrorism, everybody goes to September 11th. Everybody is familiar with what happened. Everybody knows that name, Bin Laden. Okay, but I want to bring awareness to domestic terrorism. In 2019, there are only 365 days in a year, and there were more than 365 cases of domestic terrorism in America. Okay, and we all know that if America sneezes, the Bahamas catches a cold. Recently, we have seen an increase in domestic terrorism in the Bahamas. We've had 8 people shot at the Fox Hill Park. We had 13 people shot at a baby shower in Montel Heights. And most recently in April, we had 6 men just released from jail shot in Jerome Avenue area. Okay, all of these are categorized as terrorism wherever there's more than, a group of persons shot for any particular reason. It's considered terrorism. So the book focuses mostly on Bin Laden and all these terrorist groups, but the awareness needs to be on the domestic because it's on the rise. And so we want to be sure that we have the proper controls in place to protect our country, to ensure that we don't end up like America having 300 plus cases of domestic terrorism. Okay. And so, of course, we know we have a gang problem. And so we, again, need to be aware, how will this affect the financial services sector? How will this affect families? This is a big, major problem in our community. So I just want the awareness. And so, of course, I throw domestic terrorism in there as a question as well. So you can do some research and we can start to think outside the box. And before this gets out of control, which I think it already is, that we get a hand on it. Okay. But the book talks about international terrorism, and it says the objective of terrorism or to compel a government or international organization to do or abstain from doing any act. Okay, what is classified as a foreign terrorist organization? Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, and 2 splinter groups of the Irish Republican Army. We saw when the government changed in America, that was a terrorist attack on the Capitol. Okay, and the police now has to be vigilant, because if they feel compelled to go in there and sit in the House of Parliament and threaten lives, and 5 people lost their life, and as we can see, the outcome of it is America just pretended as if it didn't happen, and they didn't want to call it what it was, an insurrection, and they basically turned a blind eye. But what message does that send to the young children? What message does that send to the families that lost their, a loved one? Okay, so we want to be very, very careful. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I think they're getting ready to have some demonstration in Washington. I think it's next week. The Capitol Police has already erected all of the barriers, and they're preparing for the worst as we speak. Okay,
so we want to pay attention to that, because we, with the common sense, we are watching. The persons who feel that it's a joke, they are also watching. The people who are in a gang, they are watching, and they are learning these things. So we need to be prepared to protect ourselves. Okay, and we, a lot of times, we was amazed and we were shocked that 13 people got shot at a baby shower. Okay, that 8 persons got shot, we are shocked. But we need to stop just being shocked, and we need to ensure that this country has the proper controls in place to mitigate these type of things from happening. Okay, so pay attention. So this is how you learn. Okay, so to be added, the list of the following criteria is required. The group must be from another country. This is for international terrorism. It must engage in terrorist acts defined by the U.S. government or have the ability and intent to engage in terrorism. And this goes on to what the U.S. identifies as a terrorist group, and there are certain legal consequences. So, of course, the Terrorism Act, after September the 11th, in 2000, the FATF came out with 40 recommendations. And then after September 11, they added 9 special recommendations on terrorism. So a very popular multiple choice question is how many, there are 49 FATF recommendations. When we talk, we only speak of 40. And so a lot of people got confused and said, Ms. Bull, did you make a mistake? It ain't 49, it's only 40, and you didn't have the answer. So just know that it is 49 because they are 4 special on terrorism. So the US is very adamant about ensuring that countries around the world are in this fight with them against terrorism and have proper laws in place that if indeed we are infiltrated or they are infiltrated, they have the support and they can prosecute and what have you. And so on September 11th, do we have to worry about international terrorism in the Bahamas? Do we know what happened on September 11th?
Yeah.
That's one person knows. What happened in the Bahamas, I should say.
That would be a challenge. This may sound humorous, right? But everything those guys, Muhammad Atta, those pulled off in the US was based on timing.
Yep.
With us, nothing ever runs on schedule or time.
Oh, wow.
You're right. You're right. So, just
He said it would sound humorous, right? But everything that they seem to operate, they operate on time. If you come into the Bahamas,
organized. Yep.
Okay, but Kendrick, are we aware that an American Airlines plane did land in Freeport back in 2001 when these laws were new? And our immigration was very vigilant. Those people did not have the proper visas. Wow. And the immigration department in 2001 was vigilant and saying, I don't need no lunch money today. Y'all go right back on your plane that y'all come back, and they deported them out of the country. Do you all know that?
No. Miss Paulette, when my mommy she said they had bomb threats on more than one occasion. And she said people actually got as close as trying to walk around the defense force officers who's guarding it. And she said they were actually walking around. It's like the surroundings of downtown, McDonald's and everything, and taking pictures like they were tourists. And she said that they actually had to do something about it because everything seemed weird. Like, why are you coming there every day and taking pictures? And that's the first bomb threat they received. And another one was when she wasn't working there no more.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. So they thought that they could have infiltrated us because it was proposed that the American Airlines flight that they caught into Freeport would leave and go into Washington, and they was going to hijack that plane and fly that into the White House. But our immigration was on point that day, and they wasn't hungry. It was just government payday. They didn't need a tip. They put those people back on that plane, and the plane that they came on, so they were not able to carry out that. In fact, they delayed them, and then they put them on the plane and found out that that's what the plan was after the investigation. So could you all imagine the repercussions the Bahamas would have had that plane left from us and went into the White House back in 2000?
You would have been
Okay, so y'all are aware that we have 4 international airports in San Salvador, in Norte Lutra, in Exuma, and in Freeport. So you don't only have to use Nassau. Do we think we have highly trained immigration people down in San Salvador to look out for these things? That means you could fly.
I doubt our whole infrastructure.
Okay.
I doubt our whole infrastructure. Just recently, how many of you remember the 2 boats that got in, I think in the South, with immigrants from Haiti, and nobody knew what was going on. The residents had to say, how is it that they get past the defense force?
Right, that's the defense force to do.
And get into Nassau? Nassau's in the central aspect to pass.
Yeah.
I know they can't go on Long Island.
Nassau people can't even go Long Island.
Okay, so you all know we are a very reactive society. Once something happens, we react. It have to happen to us first. So we're not proactive, we're reactive. So definitely after they see that those terrorists landed there in Freeport, the immigration, you could check them, or they have seniors at those international airports that they know the people flying in from all over the world. Okay, so luckily this is back in 2001 when compliance was 1 year old. You know, so that is awesome that we are a very blessed country because we would have suffered. We wouldn't have been able to rebound from that if those planes had left. Okay, so a very popular question on the exam is, why do they need to be financed? What is the purpose? What are their objectives? What do they do? And the book goes on to talk about terrorists needing financing because they need to recruit, they train, they need weapons, they need travel, they need safe havens. Bin Laden was kept in a 2-story home with concubines and wives and children in the air condition for 10 years. That was a safe haven. They believe that terrorists raise funds by the abuse of charities. Could you believe, each year we donating to the Children's Emergency Hostel or the Rampley Home, and they send in the money to promote terrorism. The criminal activity, is a certain part in, I think, Iraq where you can't walk without being taxed. So they tax the people as if they are the government. They smuggle, they rob, they do fraud, they kidnap, they drug traffic. All of these they do to fund their activities and to ensure that, they're able to afford and carry out their objectives. So another popular question is, are there, is it always illegitimate things that they do? No, they do legitimate things. They set up, like I said, the Rampley Home, and they propose that they can keep all these children. They keep the children, but the majority of the money goes towards financing terrorism. All over the Middle East, they even have a barter system where they call it hawala payments, whereas you can get, goods out of China if you are going to fund a group within the Middle East somewhere. So it could be that, just like the barter system, I have meat and you have crops. And so you can give me some meat and I can give you some crops. So there's a system because, of course, all over the world, we are required to know our customer, and, Bin Laden, so his family could walk into a bank, but obviously they have an underworld where they can get funds and transfers, and that's the hawala system. So it's and ensure that you understand. But I want another reader, and we're going to go to case 4 at the back of the book, and I want another person to volunteer to read for me for their 5%, and then we will end there on chapter 2. Okay, we're only going to read half of it, just so you can get an idea of what is happening and how serious they are, and the events that they take. Any volunteers?
I read. But Demetria said he's going to read.
Okay, you said chapter 2, and you said case 1.
No, at case 4, at the back of the book, it should say, how do ISIS terrorists finance their attacks? You may have it as a case 3. So look for the colored paper. And then look for case 4. It should say, how do ISIS terrorists finance their attacks?
Okay.
Okay, you see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we read the first page and a half first, and we'll get the gist, and then persons can read the rest of it in his spare time.
Okay. Meeting in Turkey just 2 days after the horrific terrorist attacks in Paris, leaders of the G20 countries issued a statement condemning recent Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. In Syria attacks. And sorry, Lord. Ms. Bullet?
Yes?
One moment, because the wrongest thing I did, I am actually, excuse me, everyone, I'm actually at work today, and I'm here trying to do class, and I'm also getting interrupted at the same time.
Okay, so let us get another volunteer, so, because we understand, and that's fine.
I'll read then.
Okay, thank you for volunteering. Go ahead.
How do ISIS terrorists finance their attacks? Meeting in Turkey just 2 days after the horrific terrorist attacks in Paris, leaders of the G20 countries issued a statement condemning recent Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, ISIS attacks, and reaffirmed their commitment to combat terrorism. More specifically, to a group of industrial nations recommitted itself to tackling the financing channels of terrorism, which begs the question, how does ISIS finance its international operations? ISIS is primarily financed through a wide array of criminal activities, large and small, centered in the parts of Syria and Iraq that are under the group's control. ISIS steals livestock, sells foreign fighter passports, taxes minorities and farmers and truckers, runs a sophisticated extortion racket, kidnaps civilians for ransom payments, loans and antiquities, and much more. It also makes about 40 million a month from illicit oil sales alone, but these sources primarily support the group's expensive state building and war fighting enterprises back home, ranging from paying teachers' salaries and collecting the garbage to bribing tribal leaders and paying fighters' salaries. There is, however, an entrepreneurial self-financing model that ISIS recruits and supporters around the world have been encouraged to use to fund either their travel to ISIS-controlled land or perhaps their attacks in the West. While it is too soon to state with any certainty how the Paris attacks were funded, the likelihood is that they were funded in whole or in part through local criminal activities or otherwise legal activities such as the use of state welfare benefits or taking out a loan. None of these applies.
Just stop right there. So state welfare, we had Hurricane Dorian and persons from Abaco came to the Capitol and they sat the social service all day asking for assistance. But then they got the assistance and they sent this money to ISIS, okay? Or Atlantis and Bahama employees was off for a year or so. They got national insurance, $200 a week. They sent this money to ISIS. Or we have loan officers in this group. I am coming into the bank, I'm gonna apply for a loan and say this is for my children's school fee, but I'm going to send this money to ISIS. Kendrick, what say you? Kendrick is there?
Here, I'm just unmuting. I'm here.
Okay.
Say that again, Miss.
Social service check going? That's where your social service check going?
Yeah, if I'm kind of stupid, yeah. The thing is that, okay, now how am I gonna put this? I can see something like that, if I can say this, being persuaded on somebody else, but I don't think you're gonna get Bahamians to buy into some notion like that. Bahamians are not, they don't part with their money easily unless it's something that benefits them. And in a situation with the Islamic State, I don't think the Bahamians are ever going to buy into something like that.
Okay, but Big Kendrick, this is now, let's think about in the Middle East now. And there's a comparison, I think, on page 24 about money laundering is for profit and
ideology.
Terrorism financing is ideology.
Ideology, yeah.
Right, and so this is their belief. We grow up thinking that if we become suicide bombers or martyrs, we get, what they say, 10 virgins.
No, 72 virgins.
Oh, 72, sorry. I thought it was 10. We get 10 virgins, a 2-story house made of gold, and we become rich, right? And so that's why we have a lot of suicide bombers.
Again, Miss Nordish, you ain't get no fella. The fella wanted up front. That ain't doing me no good right there. I want that up front.
No, it's for your family. It's for your wife. It's for your wife and your children.
Hold on. Anyway, I'm trying to be nice, right?
Yeah, be nice.
If it doesn't benefit me, typically Bahamians, okay, most Bahamians ain't paying their bills because they can take their money to do what they want to do with it.
But also, Kendra, like you said, that Bahamians work on things that benefit them. Look at the things that Bahamians put their money into, like looms and things. If they have that idea, you put that in their mind that they're going to get something out of this, they will put their money in it. So if you come with the right schemes, if you come with the right words and say the right things to them, they will put their money into this. They just wouldn't have the full knowledge of exactly where exactly this money is going. They just know that they're getting something back from it.
They're gonna get more back.
Okay, let me ask this question. Let me ask the question then. How many of you believe that a Ponzi scheme would work well right now?
Coward.
Okay, right now is a difference.
Okay, the reason why I asked that, right? Most people that I know, okay, one, we may believe, and this, I can't even believe I'm saying this, we may believe that we are a quote unquote religious nation. So I'm looking at the concept of ideology, Ms. Bullitt, in regards to the religious factor. I don't think behemoths have a problem. If any pastor come around them talking but 10% in tithing, they ain't hearing that. Much less, I gotta give up my, excuse me, I know we got some people from the gaming houses, I gotta give up my gambling money, plus my bear money.
The bar, you talking about the gambling?
My gambling and my bear money, and then my bamboo shack money on the back end to support you. No, but that ain't happening. That ain't happening.
Again, this is just for awareness. This is just for awareness to show you in different countries how persons have different mindsets. And so we need to thank God that we were brought up in a Christian nation, like you said, and not a nation that supports Islam and makes us feel like the only way out is to, support one of the terrorist groups or to become a suicide bomber. Okay, so great. So just the awareness. Okay, Quintet, please continue. Palma, are you still there?
Oh, sorry, my mic was on mute. Sorry.
Okay.
None of these would surprise, since authorities have been tracking the use of such funding schemes by prospective foreign terrorist fighters looking to join ISIS. Indeed, earlier this year, a Financial Action Task Force, FATF, identified several potential revenue streams for would-be foreign terrorist fighters, including robbery and drug trafficking, various social service payments, and unpaid loans. Some potential plotters or travelers took on short-term jobs to raise the money needed, while others simply drew on their savings or student loan accounts. Consider a few examples. Michael. Michael, who murdered a Canadian soldier before attacking 2014, worked at one of the Alberta oil fields to raise money for his attempted travel to Syria. Petty crime has the potential to bring in sufficient funds for a homegrown attack or transportation to come back to a combat zone as well. There is the case of the 15-year-old boy in Montreal who held up a convenience store with a knife, stealing $2,200 to pay for his plane ticket out of Canada. The teen's father turned him in to the police after finding the money in his son's bag. Or take the 4 men arrested in February in Brooklyn, New York, for attempting to join ISIS. Some of their funds were supplied by a supporter who operated a mall kiosk, selling kitchenware and cell phones. According to the indictment, a round-trip ticket to Istanbul cost a mere $598. One of the defendants expected that he would not need to bring more than $400 to travel to Syria because he would not have any concerns in the land of the Islamic State.
Okay, stop right there. Okay, and again, you can read the remainder in your own time. Again, it was just to create awareness and to show you the extremes that persons go to support ISIS and these Islamic groups and why they are so popular. And I always ask the class, I say, think about this is how important networking is. We don't want to learn anything else from bin Laden, but our takeaway is we want to network as strong as bin Laden. Because if I lost my job and it was a pandemic and I called my mother on the phone and told her I had to move there with my kids, and bring my husband and some concubines. I would not lay up in air condition every day. I would not eat steak and lobster. Every day she would ask me, see the newspaper, you find a job, and how much days you could be in my house. And my mother loved me. Okay? So I don't know if you have parents that are different, but that would be my experience. And I don't even know if I could bring my husband. She might say, where is Ma going? Right? Where you going to bring a man and talk about concubines and all these different stuff? But Bin Laden lived for 10 years, needed insulin. People that work 9 to 5 every day and have 2 jobs can't afford medication. But this man lived comfortably for 10 years.
And about 2 miles away from a military base.
A couple minutes from the with protection, with security.
Military base, yeah.
With security, right? Having security and living a nice life under the radar, surviving with all these people around him, okay? Getting his insulin every day. This is what a strong network does for you. This is why I say to go out there, introduce yourself, and meet the right people. And the homeless guy that stands on the light by Shirley Street, when I pass, he's very conscious, until he comes up to my car, and I already give him my name because I've known him for the past 10 years. You know what he told me the other day? He said, Miss Bullet, I look forward to this $2 that you give me, and sometimes you give me 5. And I just want you to know a good friend is better than any amount of money ever, because we've developed a relationship over the years. You support me and you see that we're conscious. So I consider you a good friend. And that is, I immediately thought about like Bin Laden and ISIS and the network. You know what I mean? A good friend or somebody you network with can carry you further than money, can help you survive. Okay? So this is why I encourage you to build your network. 22 people in this class. At the end of this class, all of us will be qualified with the same designation. Some of us may have more, but if I'm looking for an anti-money laundering person, I know Kendrick. Kendrick, this is 3rd or 4th class with me. I know him. Everybody qualified, but I know him. So before I even interview, I say, Kendrick, this job for you. The 22 y'all could apply. And that's just how it works. I be in real. You know what I mean? If people know you and already know your background and they see that, you're diplomatic in all your responses, you are respectful, they give you a chance. Right off the bat, Kendrick is the person, just simply because I know him. So get out there, get to know the movers and shakers in the corporate world, get to know the people who will assist you on moving on up, and just do your part. I'm sorry, that's just the way the world is. But like I say, my conscience is clear because I say I have 22 graduates. People go with the easiest one. I know Kendrick right off the bat. He's my pick. And that's just how the world works. Okay? You all don't think that I could give him extra points on that? I guess you use that as an example now.
I gotta work even harder because she said that now.
I call him for everything. If nobody reply, I call Kendrick. Okay? Yes, he know that. He done died to me. I can try to give him a little break. This class. But I call him for everything. And he is good support in every class that I teach. Okay? So definitely y'all want to network with Kendrick.
Right.
Well, if you're given points, you call me anytime.
Sorry?
If you're given points, you can call me anytime.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes I give points. Sometimes
you could call me.
Anytime.
You also could call on me, but Kendrick, if you working with you is gonna give me an extra 10 points. And,
Yes.
Can I have your number, please?
Thank you. That's my next
I put my
question.
number in the chat. I put my number in the chat.
No problem.
And
I'll get it. I'll talk.
It seems as it is like it's supposed to be 22 of us, and Kendrick is the only one. It's 21 women, and Kendrick is the only. So he have the whole firm. He's the only one.
I'm kind of getting used to this.
Yep. Yep. So ladies, we have to encourage our men to, you know, come help fill up these classrooms and just do a refresher.
Sorry.
Yeah, just do a refresher and you know, don't let the ladies say, oh, the world in design, this ladies, don't let the ladies take it over, you know. But so we gotta encourage our male counterparts too to do refreshers, keep abreast, whatever area they are in, and you know, meet us everyone equals. We don't wanna, you know, be more powerful than the man. We want the man to meet us at the, you know, I hope that we want the man to meet us at, you know, we want to equal, right? We don't want to be more smart or make more money or whatever, or we don't even care anymore.
I don't think we care anymore. We want to make more money.
Okay. So, but still, we still want to bring our, you know, the males, we want to give them a hand up because obviously the women here and they are, you know, aware. So, of, you know, how to get to the next step. So let's encourage let's do our duty as ladies to encourage our male counterparts. Okay. Okay, are there any questions? Let me see who I didn't speak to today. Michaela Thompson. Did I pronounce that right? Is it Michelle or Michaela?
It's Michaela Thompson.
Okay, Michaela Thompson, give me some feedback on terrorism. Let me see if anything resonated with you or you were asleep as Ms. Fuller was talking. You asleep or you was awake?
Pardon?
You asleep or you was awake?
I was awake.
Okay.
You said that terrorism, I wrote down some of the stuff that you were talking about. I think you said that there were 49. I think you said FTA, is it or something like that? I didn't get the rest. That was one of the questions I was going to ask you at the end. You mentioned that some students, you said 40 and they reminded you that it was 49.
Yeah.
And then you also said something about they needed money to buy weapons for training, for planes, for housing. What else did I write?
But it's the FATF, and like I say, when we speak, we normally say 40 recommendations, but there are 40 plus 9, and the 9 are special recommendations just for terrorism. But when people speak, they just say 40 recommendations. But on the final exam, one of the multiple choice questions was 41, 42, 49, and people said that it's 40, and nobody remembered the 9 special ones for for terrorism. So
Hello?
they're saying don't get confused with that.
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I got kicked off. I just got back in.
Oh, okay, yeah. So there are 49 in total, but when we speak of the 40 recommendations.
49. It's 49. What is it? 49.
So it's 40 recommendation and 9 special recommendations for terrorism.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so good. You was paying attention. Okay, thank you so much for sharing. I guess Cassandra Bethel, are you there?
Oh, sorry, I didn't introduce myself.
Okay,
my name is Michaela Thompson. I work at Deltec Trust. I'm in data management. My supervisor, Ava, mentioned this classes to me. She told me she think I should take it just in case, because our department is splitting up. So some of us are going to be going in compliance in the different areas. So I thought it was a good idea.
Okay, excellent. Welcome, and you're definitely in the right place. Okay, Brittany Strawn, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay, so you want to give me some feedback? How are you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm a law student / former law student. I graduated from University of the Bahamas in 2019. I just recently learned about compliance, but as I look in the paper, I see where it's becoming more important to learn about like what it is and how it actually applies. So this information is all pretty new to me, but pretty much from what I gather, it was interesting to see how when it comes to terrorism, it's not really so much about causing the the acts of destruction that terrorism eventually leads to, but it's actually all to further their ideology or their way of thinking in the world. So
Yes.
that was
Yeah, so good. And like I said, you're new, but as we go on week after week, it'll become clearer. So don't worry so much about trying to understanding it all at once. Okay, but it sounds like you grasp what we talked about in this session, so that's very good. Okay. Okay, good. Cassandra Bethel, are you there? No. Okay, Cara Fountain. Cassandra's there.
Yes, Ms. Bullitt, I'm here.
Okay, so give us some feedback. I just want to touch bases. I want to touch with everybody who is here.
Just reading back through the passages and taking mental notes about ISIS and the different ways to attack and so forth.
Okay, good. But for so far it is good information, and you think you can retain it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Okay, good. Cara Fountain, are you surprised at some of the things that they do to, carry out their objectives?
No, I'm not surprised because I'm pretty familiar with this content. I guess I'll learn a lot more as I go along. So I want to agree with Kendrick on some parts in trying to relate that to home, because again, it comes down to ideology and all that, and we ain't really fall for things like that. So I know people go through a little bit of stuff, or would, I don't know if they sending all their money to join a gang, but I mean, how much would that really affect you? I mean, I think, I'm not sure if we could even join the US armed forces. You don't see us signing up for that. So, I mean, and it comes with perks, but in terms of terrorism on that side of the world, I can definitely see it. Even right in America, with people enlisting or joining up or sending their money to ISIS to join, it all comes down to ideology and what you really want. Again, us being this Christian nation, we really believe in all that. So, yeah.
Okay, good. So just so again, all for awareness,
Yeah.
Okay. And if
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Oh, I wanted to say also, sorry to piggyback on what Kendra, I'm the lady who just focusing. I know we don't subscribe to that ideology and wouldn't pay for it, but surprisingly, we have a lot of non-Bahamians who reside here in Mubangi, and we don't know what their ideology are. So our home is, we do live amongst other people who may be involved in it and may send money from here first. So I like that you're saying just for awareness. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen from here.
Yeah, and then again, it's growing. So we want to not be surprised when it shows up on our doorsteps. We would have heard about it before and know what type of controls need to be in place. We want to be proactive rather than reactive. Okay, so very good, and everybody seems to be engaged and seems to have given me good feedback. So I think we had a very good, successful first class. I did rob you of your 30-minute break. I'm sorry. I promised to double up on it in another class, so I'll make sure that the class are not too overwhelming. And it's doable. Okay. And sometimes if people is telling me, Miss Bullitt, stop right there, no more talk, I can't take it.
I don't know how everybody else feels, but we can take points for that.
For working through your break?
Yeah.
In some other classes. In some other classes. Before we get
Madam Speaker, I concur with my colleague on that.
Cara, I agree with you.
Yeah. Speaker, I concur with my educated colleague on that. We could get some extra points for that time.
Yeah. Miss Bullitt will always do what's best for the group. Always.
I know,
okay?
right?
But thank you very much for being patient with the internet issues and staying engaged. And I do appreciate you being here. And can be just as exciting as we make it. Okay. And I'm certain that you all don't want to fall asleep. Miss Bully don't want to fall asleep either. So once we keep each other engaged and we talk, I think we can make this a lot interesting and so we can, stay alert and get through it. Okay.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, we have any assignments for the week besides the Toastmasters thing? And then even with that, you want us to go to either a Toastmaster or a Kiwanis every, one day out of the week?
Just once. Just once.
Once.
You don't have to rush to do it this week. Don't feel compelled to do it this week, whenever you are available. So you have 5 weeks. You have until the review class to share with the class, but please not everybody. It's 22 of you. Please not everybody wait till the last class for the homework as well as, to share your 5%. But if you do have time this week, then you can go and share next week, and that's fine. If you do want to do question 1 and get it over with and know where you're at right up front, that's fine as well.
Okay, so we can choose either one of the questions to do for the next 5 weeks. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Just wanted to get clarity.
Okay, you're welcome.
Ms. Bullen?
Yes?
Can you tell me again, where's the question?
It's on an instruction sheet. I sent out an email. You should have gotten 3.
Oh, okay, I received it.
Yeah,
right.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or concerns?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Somebody just asked this question, but just for clarity, we're only doing 1 of the 4 questions.
Yes.
And not all 4.
Yes, only 1 has to be submitted. Persons like to do all 4 and they shoot questions here or there and say, Ms. Bullitt, is this correct? Am I on the right track? It's totally up to you, but only 1 has to be submitted.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or concerns?
Ms. Bullitt, I just had a question.
Go ahead.
When we complete the question that we choose to submit, where do we submit it to?
To my email. So in the welcome, you should see my email is tbullet1800@gmail.com. So you just submit it there and I send it to a cross marker and then I mark last so I can have the final say on what the grade should be.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So please take some time to unwind and feel good and organize yourself. And like I say, speak to your families and have a fabulous weekend. It's Saturday. The curfew is extended, and so we could stay out late if we want. But if not, we could stay in. And the most important thing is to be healthy and be safe. Okay, so I pray
customer service and marketing.
Sorry, Gendra?
Customer services and marketing.
Yes. But now we have extended curfews, so you still have time to be free and just take a long drive. But you'll be fine, Kendrick. You'll be fine.
It's not so. No.
You'll be fine. Okay, so I pray that you all have a great week. And we'll
one more question.
Yes, go ahead.
Just for clarity, during the introduction of the class, I was actually driving. So it's saying that the homework or that first portion is due on May something.
May?
No, May 20.
May 20 something. So I want to know what's the exact due date for that.
You know what? Let me go, because I had so many problems with my email. Let me make sure that you would have sent, because I showed the instruction sheet when I was on the computer. You have a May date? You shouldn't have a May date.
Bullet, I think that's the one you said to disregard.
Yeah, that's a disregard.
That's the one we ought to disregard because it's saying 2000. I think it's 2020.
Yes, that's right up. It doesn't have a number next to it, right?
FATS, Guideline in Bahamas.
Yeah, that's the one you said earlier to just disregard and then concentrate on the 4 questions.
Yeah, yeah, that was just a typo that was supposed to be deleted, and the questions are 1 through 4.
Okay,
yeah, so excuse me for that.
So they are that one is due on September 24th?
Yes, that's next week, Friday.
Okay.
And then the following Fridays, one is due every Friday. So you
Okay.
just select the question you want to do.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Got it.
Okay. Excellent.
I just, before we leave, I wanted to apologize for my, for today. Okay, I work on Saturdays. I just wanted to feel it out to see if it would have been doable, but I realized it's not. So, yeah, just excuse me for today.
Okay, that's fine. And I know you perhaps need to organize yourself now. So please contact Miguel and get the recording for anything that you've missed. And if you want to, I have somebody who is 7-day, and so she is not going to show up to class, and she listens to the recordings on the side, but she types in her newspaper articles and what she did at Rotary. So if you do have to work and you still can manage the class, you just listen to the recordings and feel free to email me your newspaper clippings, or what have you, and you'll still get your full points.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah. Okay, so just like I say, let's keep the communication lines open, and the ultimate goal here is that everybody is successful, and there's no one size fits all approach for 22 persons. Okay, so once you communicate with me, I'm happy to adjust, amend, and do whatever it takes to ensure that you are successful. And like I told Miss Nottage, you make sure you celebrate that birthday. So I can make sure from now I have a separate exam for you, because that birthday must be celebrated. I don't want you even to think about an exam during your birthday week.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Well, actually, Miss Bullard, tomorrow is my birthday, so I shouldn't have been in this class then.
Kendrick should not be there. And it's recorded. Oh, happy birthday, Kendrick.
Happy birthday.
Yes. I
Thank
hope
you.
you have a fabulous day, and I hope you have some time off to just enjoy.
I also was trying to get Kendrick's contact number.
Okay, my number is 4366 937 937. 4366 937.
Your please don't
Okay.
contact Kendrick. Tell Wednesday, because he partying tomorrow and he have a class on Tuesday, and he don't know if he can make that yet. So he ain't available till Wednesday. Okay? He might still be partying.
Okay.
Okay, great. Great. Okay, guys.
Okay, Miss Bullet.
Yes.
I can just update you as well. Tomorrow is also my wedding anniversary as well. So 2 on 1 day.
Kendrick, I can see you next week then. No, we can catch. I can leave you. I ain't even gonna call your name if you make it on Tuesday. And celebrate. Listen to me. The order of the day is death. Every 4 calls I get is somebody passed away. So please live your life. Don't take the people in your life for granted, and respect how they feel and celebrate.
Yes.
And I'm all about this, because you never know when they are going. So go the extra mile to make them feel happy and loved and cared for, because life is very unpredictable right now, and it seems to be very short. Because you see in 99-year-olds, I can accept that, or anybody over 70. I'm talking about 30-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 60-year-olds. Everyday death. 1 week I had 6. Okay, so please, life is what you make it. Choose happiness and choose to love the people around you and treat them good. Okay?
All right.
Now go and start your weekend. And we'll catch up next week. I'm too excited for the weekend. Okay? So y'all take care, and y'all have a productive week, and we'll talk again next week.
Have a blessed day.
Okay, ma.
Okay.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Good day.